Do you lose all empathy? Is that part of the requirement?
Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, thoughts and
Ali
prayers.
Mayorkas' thoughts and
Next.
prayers are with Alexis Nungaray, who was on Hannity. This was what she told Sean. Ted Cruz was on with her, too, of course, her home state senator. This is what she had to say about the murder of her daughter and what she will do now.
I want the nation all around the world to understand that she was a child. She was my child. She was my firstborn. She was a preteen that was slowly becoming this beautiful, beautiful young lady. And she was going so far. She had admiration of dreams and aspiring goals that she wanted to do in life. She was going to make it. She was going to do things. And these men, these illegal men, took that opportunity from my daughter, from our family, of watching her become this amazing person. So now, with her voice being ripped away from her, I am going to be her voice and stand strong and try to make a difference in this world, because this has got to stop. We have to stop burying our kids. This is not right. We have to have more reinforcement when it comes to letting people in. This is not okay. It's not okay.
I know what you're thinking. These men who are illegal, a person can't be illegal. I've seen it on signs in Hinsdale, so that's how I know.
Well, these guys are monsters. And what they did to her, and they lured her into a 7-Eleven. They had some candy and pop and stuff, and then they lured her underneath a bridge. They tortured her for 2 hours, took turns raping her. Her pants were down. She was naked from the waist down, and they threw her in a bayou hoping that the water would wash away any of the DNA evidence. And they strangled her. And apparently they were laughing while they were strangling her. And these were preventable crimes, because I'm so sick of the Democrats saying, well, you know, Americans commit crimes too. Because this is what it was on Capitol Hill when Fox News went up to certain Congress members and asked them about 12-year-old Jocelyn.
Can I ask you quickly about the 12-year-old girl in Houston that was tortured?
To strangers. I don't even know who you are, and I don't know who she is. I live in Pittsburgh.
These are horrible incidents, and I think anyone who conducts that kind of terrible act.
The first Congresswoman you heard from, let's name names here, Summer Lee. She's a Socialist Spice Girl. Make sure you get your scorecards out and keep track of these people, even if you don't live in their district. Summer Lee, institutional knowledge, what the rest of the media doesn't really have, even in the era of AI. I talked about this a bit yesterday at that 1871 forum. Institutional knowledge, artificial intelligence makes it a lot easier than it used to be, but it still requires some human intelligence. Summer Lee, for frame of reference, this is Summer Lee, in addition to that statement about I don't know who she is, I'm in Pittsburgh. So, right.
Buzz off.
Obviously, as a federal legislator, she'll be surprised to learn that she makes laws that affect people outside her district. Here's Summer Lee.
Such as teamwork and goal setting. In terms of mental health, studies show that participating in youth sports is associated with lower rates of anxiety and depression, lower amounts of stress, higher self-esteem and confidence.
Women must stop. Inclusion cannot be prioritized over safety and fairness. And Ranking Member Lee, if my testimony makes me transphobic, then I believe your opening monologue makes you a misogynist. Thank you.
Madam Chair, excuse me, I move to have the gentlewoman's words taken down.
The committee will suspend.
Riley Gaines and Summer Lee.
Madam Chair, she's engaging in personalities.
Can I just ask how it's fair to be called transphobic?
There's a
Thing.
I would say men disguising themselves as women are engaging in personalities.
Order.
Hang on. Order. Let's get a ruling.
Okay, I move to withdraw the point of order.
Yeah.
Well, can we play the rest of it where they say, well, you know, American natives commit crimes too?
Yeah, it's the same state. This is their argument. We play.
Well, it's victim shaming. It's like, you know, I'm sorry you got killed by an illegal, but something was going to befall upon you anyway.
this is what they're trying to do. It's not going to work. It's not working. This is what Michael Steele did the other day when Simone Sanders had to correct him and say, former RNC chairman Michael Steele had to correct him and say, we don't use the term illegal illegal immigrant here. We use the term undocumented. That's the importance for them, the lexicon. Right. So we have indigenous crime. So if we have indigenous crime, we might as well augment that with crime from people in this country illegally. That's the basic logic of their argument. If that's persuasive to you, then you might want to think about moving to Wilmette. Tom in Blue Island, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Dan and Amy, good morning. I believe what Amy Jacobson just said is an incredible statement. When you become a Democrat, do you lose all empathy? That should be a commercial. What's ironic is Democrats portray themselves as the empathetic. The blood of every one of these women and children, and they are almost all women and children. We're not hearing about a lot of men getting killed. These are women and children that are being attacked by illegal aliens. 20, 30 years ago, you would lose your career as a politician, or you'd have to drop out of an election for having an affair. We had people coming over the border, murdering American citizens, and what did Mayorkas say? It sounded like he read that off a cue card. Oh, say you feel bad for the family and stuff. This is disgusting.
Thanks for the call, Tom.
Do we have time to play the judge from Harris County? I mean, somebody in the DNC must have called her and said, you're going to have a press conference and you are going to blame Trump for Jocelyn's murder.
Yeah, Linda Hidalgo in Harris County.
She should
Me, it hurts even more that they're being used as pawns in this fight over immigration that doesn't even exist because Biden and McConnell agree. It's just that Trump won't let him move it forward.
All due respect, Judge, you said this issue shouldn't be politicized, but by pointing the finger at former President Trump and Republicans in Congress, aren't you politicizing it?
I think I answered the question. So, yeah, I mean, this is about Jocelyn. This is about her family, and if we want to,
Judge,
as I said, talk about immigration.
You didn't answer the question. Are you politicizing this by pointing the finger at Republicans and saying it's their fault, not the fault of the Biden administration that lifted the Remain in Mexico policies?
Again, the Biden administration reached an agreement with Leader McConnell to address this, but this is not about immigration. I'm not going to feed into that.
Yeah.
I mean, what a bimbo. She is up for election in 2026. She barely won her last election, but they need to vote her out.
Another officer of the court, like that officer of the court that just got removed in Atlanta after she got in a row with cops while she was clubbing. I mean, this is the kakistocracy that we see. We see ill-tempered, illiterate people in positions of authority, from Summer Lee to Linda Hidalgo and everywhere in between. Obviously, we're ground zero for that in Illinois.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, preview an ad that you'll see if you watch tonight's debate from Trump-affiliated PAC at 6:06.
And let's practice standing for 90 minutes at 6 a.m. WIND Chicago.
It's the earliest debate ever. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. A Biden-Trump showdown tonight, the CNN presidential debate.
Democrats are already trying to get under Donald Trump's skin. The DNC paid money to buy out 5 of these billboards here in the Atlanta area, putting up near highways out here, going after Trump for his recent felony conviction. It says, quote, Donald, welcome to Atlanta for the first time since becoming a convicted felon.
Fox's Bill Malugin near the debate site.
We expect to see both Trump and Biden showing up here in Atlanta in the coming hours. Trump, as we all know, really hasn't been preparing for the debate. He hasn't been doing mock debates. He prefers to be out on the campaign trail, meeting with his voters. Biden taking a complete opposite approach. He has been holed up at Camp David with more than a dozen advisors coaching him up.
2 national polls the last 2 days from Quinnipiac and the New York Times give former president a 4-point lead over President Biden. We'll get more rulings this morning from the Supreme Court.
Abortion is healthcare.
Where those pro-choice protesters support a challenge to an Idaho abortion law. The court briefly and inadvertently posted a document online appearing to show the justices may decide in favor of an attempt to allow emergency abortions to protect a mother's health, but that is not the only ruling we're waiting for.
Justices have other major opinions left to publish before the term ends, including former President Trump's immunity claim in his federal election interference trial.
Fox's Jared Halpern at funerals today in Houston, Texas.
Jocelyn Nungry's friends and family will gather to honor the 12-year-old just 2 weeks after her murder.
Fox's Brooke Singman.
Jocelyn's lifeless body was found in a creek 2 weeks ago. Police say she was strangled to death by 2 illegal migrants from Venezuela.
They're now jailed on a murder charge, could face the death penalty. Last night, Texas executed a killer for a 2001 kidnapping murder. In the death chamber, Ramiro Gonzalez admitted he caused people pain. His last words, "I hope one day you will forgive me." Then he was lethally injected. America's listening to Fox News.
6:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. Sunshine this morning. Take care along the lakefront and in northwest Indiana. Waves are high. There is the possibility of rip currents on Lake Michigan. Bulls went local in their first-round draft pick last night.
The 11th pick in the 2024 NBA Draft. The Chicago Bulls select Matis Buzelis from Chicago and the NBA's G League team Ignite.
Buzelis is from Willowbrook. Brook played at Hinsdale Central before COVID forced him to play at academies around the country. Both of Matis's parents played professionally in Lithuania before settling again in Willowbrook. The Highland Park July 4th parade shooting suspect rejects a plea deal his attorneys had worked out. Robert Cremo III made the surprise reversal yesterday at a hearing in Lake County Court, where Lake County prosecutors, including Eric Reinhardt, say they're prepared now to go to trial.
We will be ready for trial.
Cremo is accused of killing 7 and wounding dozens more at a Highland Park parade in July of 2022. DuPage County prosecutors will not file charges in a deadly police shooting of a man in Carroll Stream earlier this year. According to Isaac Goodlow's mother, DuPage County State's Attorney Robert Berlin said he couldn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt the former officer who shot Isaac Goodlow III wasn't justified in his use of force. Family's legal team disagrees. Here's Andrew Stroth.
Any objective person watching that video, you see the officers break into Isaac's apartment, break into his room, and immediately shoot and kill him. These officers should have chilled, and they should have got a warrant. They should have got consent.
Berlin did say in a statement the released body cam footage in that case was not altered, and other claims made by the family about Goodlow or the police officers are not true. A ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court about the federal bribery statute is expected to impact the high-profile case of former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan. The court's ruling could impact a couple of corruption cases here, including the case of the ComEd 4 as well. The judge in the ComEd 4 case has set a July 9 hearing to discuss next steps in that case. Chicago sports. Cubs lost to San Francisco 4-3. White Sox lost to the LA Dodgers 4-0. NBA draft news, the Bulls do not have a second-round pick today, and Illinois guard Terrence Shannon Jr. was selected in round 1 by the Minnesota Timberwolves. The news, the service of Papa Nicholas Coffee, a Chicagoland tradition for over 5 generations. Combining heritage and innovation in every cup, it's hot air roasted locally and cold blended in small batches. Choose Papa Nicholas Coffee because great coffee is their family tradition. Online at papanicholas.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
That's some good stuff, I'll tell you. It really works.
I'm just really pleased with your product. I've been using it now for 3 years.
I've been taking it for a while now. I feel better. I live on the balance of nature. I plan on taking it forever.
I've been a very happy customer. I like the product, and I'm telling a lot of people about it.
Splash into your summer with Balance of Nature's summer savings. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 50% off your first set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't miss out. This offer is only available while supplies last. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited time offer by using discount code Chicago.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here. Let me ask you this. Does inflation feel worse than what we're being told in the news? That's because the official inflation rate doesn't tell the whole story. Since January 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but what you can do is stop your losses today. How? By diversifying your savings into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. When you're done, your money will be parked in a tangible asset with a proven history. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax advantaged status. So text PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
Let me ask you this. Are you not able to enjoy this summer as much as you want because of joint pain? Well, this is the best time for being outdoors, but not if your knees, shoulders, back, or hips are hurting. Hey, it's Amy Jacobson, and don't suffer any longer. Non-surgical joint pain relief is here from our good friends at QC Kinetics. Call them today. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. QC Kinetics advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Walk, run, hike, play golf, move again pain-free. So stop putting it off. Take action now and live your best life again. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. They're open on Saturdays, now with new locations in Crystal Lake and Gurnee. 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955.
6:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Inbound Kennedy 34 O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Stevenson 46 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. South end of the Dan Ryan already jammed up and delays on the north end. 18th into the Circle, 15 minutes in from 95th. Tri-State jamming up northbound. I-294 slows up right at the Reagan I-88 because of a slow ramp to the outbound Eisenhower. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Cooler and a bit less humid today. A mix of clouds and sun. Our high today 73. Partly cloudy for tonight, low 62. Clouds and breezy tomorrow. Afternoon shower and thunderstorm. Could see some flash flooding. The high tomorrow afternoon 82. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Sun and clouds 63. Next news at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. A little debate preview. Set your clocks if you haven't already. It starts at 8 o'clock tonight.
And if you want to, if you're in your car, we are the election station. The presidential debate, as you know, starts. We're going to have a pregame, Dan, at 7 p.m. with Hugh Hewitt and Sebastian Gorka and Mike Gallagher. And then at 8 o'clock, you can hear the Fox News Radio's coverage of the CNN presidential debate, followed by an instant analysis immediately following.
And here's how it's going to go for a sort of a kindergarten level walkthrough. You had Phil Mattingly and Victor Blackwell of CNN give you the viewer, the CNN viewer, thus the need for it to be kindergarten level, a peek as to how the debate will be administered by the capable Jake Tapper and Dana Bash.
Tomorrow night, just after 9 p.m. Eastern, President Biden will enter from the right side of your screen. President Trump will enter from the left side of your screen. The podiums are 8 feet apart. Directly across from them, the moderators, CNN's Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. Now, a reminder, this is a television studio. There's no audience. Candidates will have 2 minutes to answer questions and 1 minute for responses and rebuttals. At the moderator's discretion, there may be an additional minute for follow-ups, clarifications, or responses. So how does a candidate know how much time is left to speak? Attached to the cameras in the studio and in the candidate's field of view are the timing lights. When the lights show yellow, there are 15 seconds left in a candidate's answer or response. When the lights flash red, there are 5 seconds left. And when the display is solid red, the time is up. At that point, the candidate's microphone will be turned off, and the other candidate will have their microphone turned on.
Oh, this is
My colleague,
riveting.
Victor Blackwell, has more on that.
They're like stewardesses.
Thank you, Phil.
Yeah.
If we go
Tag
behind
team.
the podiums, you
Yeah.
can see 2 green lights. When they're on, they signal to the candidate his microphone is on.
That's what
When
that
the green
means?
lights are off, they signal to the candidate his microphone is off. Now I want to give you a sense of what it will look like for viewers at home if a candidate whose microphone is off interrupts a candidate whose microphone is on. So I'm standing at one podium, and I'll ask Phil to come in and take the other podium. And so let's say I'm answering a question. My light is green, and I'm speaking. Phil's microphone is off, and his green lights are not illuminated. He's going to interrupt me as I'm speaking, and this is what it will sound like. My volume remains constant, while Phil's interruption can be difficult to understand.
Let's try the opposite. My microphone is now on. Victor's microphone is off, and he's going to interrupt me. My volume remains constant, while Victor's interruption can be difficult to understand.
Victor, is that you?
Hello? Dick walks up the hill. Jane follows behind.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that.
It's very condescending, very kindergartenish. And yeah, well, that's how green. Do you know, Dan, when the green button's on, your microphone is on. Riveting stuff. I can't wait. It sounds like it's going to be really boring, but
I think the yellow and red lights by the camera and the green lights on the podium. I think that could confuse and frighten Joe Biden, but we'll see how he performs.
well, but he has been practicing 7 days for 90 minutes, and apparently every night at 9:00 he has to stand for 90 minutes, and then they do like a fake debate
or no dinner.
or no lasagna, because they released the other day that he and his 16 members, who by the way are mostly old white men, not woke people, are his camp counselors. They've been with him and going back and forth in strategy sessions on their golf courts in Camp David, and yeah, not woke enough. You want to hear Andrea Mitchell?
Yeah,
These old men? Did you hear it?
yeah, of course.
There is a profile in the New York Times today of the 3 closest advisors, longest serving advisors, informal and formal advisors to the president, and they're all white men in their 60s or higher. You know, former Senator Ted Kaufman, 85 years old. So is that too insular?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So there's a one ad that from a Trump-affiliated PAC that will run during the debate tonight to focus people's attention on the issue we were just discussing, which is, of course, border security. That will be, I'm sure, a hot topic. Here is the ad, no uncertain terms. And by the way, the idea of invoking Laken Riley or Rachel Morin and the left's like, oh, you're playing politics with these women who are murdered. Actually, Trump is and the Trump affiliated PACs are doing those families a service. Trump has actually talked to those families. They are supportive of the position Trump is taking with respect to border security. You heard from Alexis Nungaray, the mom of Jocelyn, the 12-year-old who was raped and murdered in Houston, that this is what she wants. She wants border security. She's going to be Jocelyn's voice since Jocelyn is no longer with us, and she's mentioned that issue specifically. So the only thing that the Dems are doing is playing politics, the damage control style of politics on this issue, because they have massive exposure, and they know it, but they're in a box because they can't walk away from their socialist Spice Girl base. That's the box they're in.
It just keeps happening. Laken Riley wasn't the first, and in Joe Biden's America, sadly, she won't be the last.
Also this morning, a major break in the murder case of a Maryland mother. The suspect was in this country illegally. He's expected to be charged in the murder and rape of Rachel Morin.
Illegal immigrant Victor Hernandez. He was wanted for murder, but Biden let him in.
Entered the country illegally after reportedly murdering a young woman in El Salvador.
He assaulted a 9-year-old girl and her mother at a home in Los Angeles.
Now, he's charged with raping and beating Rachel Morin, mother of 5, to death. Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, and countless others. Joe Biden's open border, a nightmare for American women.
You know, something else, too, if Biden tries to run that game on Trump tonight with the, you're playing politics with the tragic murder of a young woman and so forth. I would play the say her name, say their names game right back at him. So it's okay for you to run around talking about George Floyd in perpetuity, talk about his death. It's okay for the Black Lives Matter. Any person killed, even if it's even if they were the bad actor by police, it's supposed to be say her name, make sure everybody knows their name. Well, so why shouldn't everybody know the name Jocelyn Nungaray or Rachel Morin or Laken Riley? Why shouldn't everyone know their name? They should know their name. These girls should be remembered.
These girls should be alive because they were preventable crimes.
Well, that too. But I like playing that say their name back at Joe Biden, since the left loves to run that game. Jim in Milwaukee, are on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, folks. Dan, you and Dennis Prager are the monoliths of reasoning. Here's my prediction. Please tell me I'm wrong, please. I believe that Judge Marshak, who already we know is going to sentence Trump to something in jail. I believe that sentence is simply going to extend past the election. Therefore, Trump is out because he can't serve as president and fulfill his duties if he's in jail. Please comment.
Thanks for the
It's
call,
a possibility.
Jim. Well, we talked a little bit about that with Andy McCarthy yesterday. Right. I think he's going to get jail time because how does Judge Merchan, the criminal justice system in Manhattan, how do they go through all of this and then do what? Say, time,
probation.
Give you 30 days probation. You have to come in a couple weekends and pick up trash. No way. They
Clean
have
up
to
the subway.
They have to. This guy is a threat to the republic. He's a dictator from day one. He's all those things that they say. And Alvin Bragg was out to get him, and apparently so was Judge Merchan, although he didn't announce it the way that Bragg and Letitia James did. And so of course they have to continue to keep up appearances by sentencing him to jail time.
And he is, like, some people are like, he'll just get probation. Like, he's having a sentencing date. Something is going to be determined and handed down.
Well, that could be probation.
Right.
I mean, but it's not going to be for the reason that I said.
Right. And why are we okay?
But the question is that, so then he's going to sentence him to more than 4 years, so Trump is going to be in the can for the entirety of his term. Well, first of all, you can do a lot of business from behind bars. Just ask crime families. And international gangs and so on and so forth that run the prisons in so many instances. But on a more serious note, the idea that he would have to report for his prison sentence, to serve his prison sentence after he was inaugurated, for example, whatever date is set to begin service. And we could have a moment. I don't know how you enforce it against the President of the United States. Who is going to take him into custody?
Secret Service has to be with him at all times, protecting him.
It's a state-level crime, so...
Unless they strip him of his Secret Service.
Who is going to take it? Who's the New York State Police? New York City Police?
I think they're going to touch him.
So
bailiff. I mean, how's that going to go down?
How does that work? And also, too, I mean, it becomes probably a constitutional issue if we get there. I don't know. I mean, this is such uncharted territory. But if he got, more than a modest prison sentence, I assume the Supreme Court has to inveigh on the topic.
They have to.
I would think there's no way you're going to have the president of the United States, although I shouldn't knock on wood, no way. No way you're going to have the president of the United States serve the entirety of his term behind bars. But I guess, theoretically, this is the crazy place we're in. This is what happens when you use the justice system to political ends as opposed to law enforcement ends. We're going to have a moment. July 11th is an important date.
Can I ask a question, too? Why is this debate so early? And why is it before a week where most Americans are off on vacation? Like, why? Timing's everything. Why? Was this the only week that they had where they could prepare for 7 days and practice standing for 90 minutes?
No, this is you get them out of the way when people aren't paying attention, so you insulate yourself from a bad performance. You have time to recover. I mean, these are Biden's dates.
Okay, right.
So,
because Trump had zero say in all of this.
Well, he had a say in it. He chose not to.
If he said something, then it would look like he didn't want to debate.
He chose not to negotiate. Yeah, the terms of it. So, but these are Biden's dates, and they're Biden's dates for that reason. If he has a good performance, then he starts to claw back a little bit before the stretch run. If he has a bad performance, it can fade into people's memory by the time the conventions roll around.
And September is the next.
And he did not debate. We had our debates, and I stood toe to toe in this and that. As I said that from the beginning when people were saying he's not going to debate Trump, he has to. It's too much political damage. You cannot be a presidential candidate and not debate your opponent. It just people are not going to stand for it. It would hurt you too much politically, so this is the compromise position they took.
And I love the hyperbole. First time ever a former president debates a current president.
Bob in Buffalo Grove.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Always good talking to you, enjoying your conversations. Question for you. Trump's mic will be canceled, but will there be a split screen view of the candidates? I'd love to see Trump's response when Biden goes off the rails, whatever, because Trump has some great expressions.
Yeah.
Have a great day and see you tonight.
Yep.
Thanks for the call, Bob. Yeah. Well, I mean, Trump can also dust off some of the statements he made in the debate 4 years ago, bring them current. There's been some stuff that's transpired over the last 4 years.
Oh, really?
That didn't age well from a Biden perspective.
If this stuff is true about Russia, Ukraine, China, other countries, Iraq, if this is true, then he's a corrupt politician. Right. So don't give me the stuff about how you're this innocent baby.
Innocent baby. Yeah, if this stuff is true about Biden Incorporated, gosh, what have we learned over the last 4 years?
You mean the laptop is now another Russia hoax?
And that's exactly what.
Is this
that's
where you're
exactly
going?
what.
This is where he's going.
That's exactly what we're told. Would you like to revisit that issue? I would. I'd like to see him revisit that issue.
Please.
And Trump can also dust this one off.
You know, Joe, I ran because of you. I ran because of Barack Obama, because you did a poor job. If I thought you did a good job, I would have never run. I would have never run. I ran because of you. I'm looking at you now. You're a politician. I ran because of you.
And I love this little ditty. This is a good one.
I don't know where he comes from. I don't know where he comes up with these numbers.
Queens.
Kevin, Austin, Texas.
Oh, we're not going to have that.
Morning, Amy and Dan. I'm curious. What's the over? I'm curious on what the over under is of how many minutes until Biden makes a gaffe or forgets a phrase or a word. And the other thing I was curious. This is going to be like Thanksgiving for the family. Like couple kids are saying, I don't know, Mom seems kind of off. And then there's Thanksgiving, and everybody's like, oh yeah, Mom, something's definitely wrong with Mom. I think that's what's going to happen.
Well, thanks for the call, Kevin. That sort of was the exchange between Speaker Johnson and CNN's Klingon Collins. I
call her Dylan Mulvaney lookalike.
As they were, because all the CNN pushback is all this Trump talk about, he's going to be drugged up and so on and so forth.
Ridiculously said that you have seen a cognitive decline in President Biden, but don't you worry that you and fellow Republicans have set the bar pretty low for him?
Look, I just tell the truth, Caitlin. I mean, I have no personal animus against Joe Biden, of course. I respect the office, but I've just acknowledged what everyone sees. We can't help how we age. Everybody ages differently at a different pace. My father-in-law is the same exact age as President Biden, but he's on his A game. He works 12 hours a day, runs his small business that he's been running for years, and he's vibrant, and he can do almost anything seemingly. And President Biden cannot. I mean, that's what people see. And so it's a dangerous thing. I take no pleasure in saying it because our adversaries see that as well. And, I think it's going to be a very interesting contrast between these two men. And the interesting thing about this race, Caitlin, is that both of these men have been president. So you can ignore the rhetoric, you can ignore the talking points, you can look at the record of these two men, and I think that's a really important one as well.
But do you think some of the rhetoric, Speaker Johnson, I mean, just knowing you and how you conduct yourself, do you think some of the rhetoric is out of line when people from Trump's team are suggesting that Trump himself, that Biden is going to be on cocaine when he's on that debate stage Thursday night?
Look, there's a lot of things that are said in jest. Of course, no one expects that Joe Biden would be on cocaine, but they do ask questions, and I think they're objectively. I think it makes sense why people are asking, will he be on some sort of energy drinks or something? Okay, look, his energy levels, you can see, vary depending on what format he's in and what forum, and we expect that he'll do what he did at the State of the Union. He had a lot of energy that night, so that's the Joe Biden I expect to see.
Yeah, that's what I expect to see too, but. The cocaine thing, I mean, we still don't know where that cocaine came from or where it went. So, I mean, it's...
remember they were supposed to bring decency back into the White House and anything but. You had a transgender show her boobs, or his boobs, on the, outside the White House, and then the cocaine, and then his dog that bit 24 people, sending 6 to the hospital.
Take it easy, Christy Nome. John in Portage Park.
Yeah, good morning. Me and the guys I got to work with have this game we play when there's a State of the Union or a debate, where they say a word and we got to take a shot. I want Amy and Dan's opinion of the word so we could drink the most.
What word will be used the most in the?
Yeah,
I'm not lying. Well, what about a phrase rather than?
No, just one word.
Democracy. No.
Yeah, democracy will be one.
Convicted felon. Well, that's kind of too.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, John.
That's a good question.
Yuck.
We do have a debate watch party. Are we gonna? I'm
democracy,
not playing the game.
Threat to democracy.
Phrases. Liar. Well.
So I mean, it'll be abortion, border, immigrant, democracy. Yeah, I think those would be
equity.
Yeah, you have to think. From an issue and then a characterization perspective. Doddering old fool. That might be said a lot.
For real, I'm serious. I'm not lying. He always says that. Biden does.
Yeah.
So we can take him more seriously?
Yeah.
Does that mean you normally lie to us and now you're not lying to us?
I hope we get Biden sotto voce. I love that Biden.
Which one?
The sotto voce, where he leans in and he whispers for emphasis. This is really important. John in Crown Point.
Hi, Dan and Amy. I love your show, but I love Amy more.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I wonder if there's going to be a website, a gambling website, where we could bet on who's going to actually win the election.
I'm sure
what do you
the
think
biggest
about that?
odds makers are already on that, right, Dan? I mean, you're a gambling man.
You're going to have to lay money. Nate Silver has, over at 538, has... 66% chance that Trump wins. So he's a 2-1 favorite right now, according to some of the handicappers, at least. Yeah, this race is not a toss-up right now. It's Trump in the lead, but it's not a huge lead.
Nope.
And there's a long way to go, and that begins tonight.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I've been watching it on TV, and then my soul has my husband, and I guess he just called up and surprised me. He had ordered it, and I didn't expect it for me to notice it so right away. I kind of shocked my husband when I told him. I've been taking it like a little over a week. I'm taking it, and then I can already notice a difference. I do feel very good. I can't even put it into words. I feel really good every day. I don't wake up grouchy. I love everybody to take it. I think it's wonderful.
Splash into your summer with Balance of Nature's summer savings. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 50% off your first set. Don't miss out. This offer is only available while supplies last. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited time offer by using discount code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
Got exclusive audio from Camp David, Biden doing debate prep, and
on the mock Hollywood stage with all the same lighting.
And practicing with those lights that you heard CNN. You know, you've got the yellow light when you got 15 seconds, then the red light is to stop, then you have the green light at the podium when it's your turn to talk and your mic's on. So it's a lot of lights to keep track of. Here's how it went.
We've all got our switches, lights, and knobs to deal with, Stryker. I mean, down here, there are literally hundreds and thousands of blinking, beeping, and flashing lights. Blinking and beeping and flashing. They're flashing and they're beeping. I can't stand it anymore. They're blinking and beeping and flashing. Why doesn't somebody pull the plug?
So I don't know. I mean, like I said, it could be a problem tonight. We'll have to see.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Cornell law professor William Jacobson on the Supreme Court's surprising and disappointing holding in the Murphy v. Missouri case at 6:36.
And why not add that fifth star on the Chicago flag? We'll explain. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
6:32. The two main contenders for the office of president will be in Georgia today. CNN studios in Atlanta will be the site of the first major presidential debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. House Speaker Mike Johnson told reporters yesterday Americans will see a sharp contrast between the two candidates.
Everybody wants to know which Joe Biden's going to show up. And look, my summary is this. It doesn't matter if he drinks a whole gallon of energy drinks. He's not going to be able to match the acumen and the readiness of Donald Trump. And that's what we expect.
For the first time since the presidential debate in 1960 between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon, there will not be a live audience. In addition, when Biden and Trump face off on the debate stage and the campaign's mics will be muted, there will be an interesting pause when the opponent is speaking and candidates attempt to confront. The U.S. Supreme Court is expected to issue more opinions today and Friday, as it still has some major decisions to hand down before recessing at the end of the month. Among them, a ruling on former President Trump's claim that he's immune from most prosecution for alleged crimes committed while in office. Scientists are saying not to worry about two giant asteroids hurtling towards the Earth. The European Space Agency says an asteroid over a mile wide will be zipping by the Earth this afternoon, relatively close by, 4 million miles away. It poses no threat, they say. NASA agrees, but they do say it's the closest flyby on record of an asteroid that size. The Bulls went local with their first-round draft pick last night, selecting former Hinsdale Central forward Montes Buzelis with the 11th pick in round one.
You still crying? You got media circuit? Well, welcome to the Bulls, and cannot wait to see you here, man. No, Nerushka, Ike, pasimatysim, davai, Ike.
Arturas Kanishevas is the GM of the team. It kind of helps when the team selecting you speaks your parents' native language fluently. Buzelis left to play academy basketball during COVID, then played in the NBA's G League. Both of Modes's parents played professional basketball in Lithuania before settling in Willowbrook. The Highland Park 4th of July parade shooting suspect rejecting a plea deal that his attorneys had worked out. Robert Cremo III made the surprise reversal yesterday. Lake County prosecutors now say they're prepared to go to trial as soon as next year. The National Weather Service confirms that 4 tornadoes hit Chicago last Saturday. Officials say a tornado started just west of downtown Elburn. Another tornado hit the ground near Wheaton-Warrenville South High School. It tracked through the south side of Wheaton before lifting soon after it entered the Morton Arboretum. Cubs lost to San Francisco 4-3. That's 19 games this year that the Cubs have lost by one single run. White Sox surrendered a leadoff home run to Shohei Ohtani in the first in a 4-0 loss to the LA Dodgers. The news, a service of Woodland Windows and Doors. Experience the enduring beauty of infinity from Marvin Windows at Woodland Windows and Doors. Take advantage of our limited time offer, 10% off installation through June 30th. Visit woodlandwindows.com to schedule your appointment today. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
If you listen to the mainstream media and the Democrats, you'd think it was a sin to be black and conservative. Well, John Anthony blows up that perception every week on Black and Right. Join John this Saturday afternoon at 4 when he pushes back against the left and its regressive, progressive agenda that tries to dictate how people should think or feel about politics. Listen to Black and Right this Saturday afternoon at 4, right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I've been watching it on TV, and then my soul has my husband, and I guess he just called up and surprised me. He had ordered it, and I didn't expect it for me to notice it so right away. I kind of shocked my husband when I told him. I've been taking it like a little over a week. I'm taking it, and then I can already notice a difference. I do feel very good. I can't even put it into words. I feel really good every day. I don't wake up grouchy. I'd love everybody to think it. I think it's wonderful.
Splash into your summer with Balance of Nature's summer savings. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 50% off your first set. Don't miss out. This offer is only available while supplies last. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited time offer by using discount code Chicago.
With over 3 decades of serving up streetwise insight and local perspective on Page 2, the voice of John Cass has a home at johncassnews.com.
I'm John Cass, and for too long, so-called progressives have been ruining our world. They've been stepping on it. They've twisted everything from the schools to the media in the hopes of crushing our liberty. Traditional media, mainstream media, like the paper, and anything else you see on TV, well, they're in on it. And that's why you need to join me at johncassnews.com for your daily cup of Midwestern common sense. Don't be a chump alone. Join me on the new frontier of independent journalism at johncassnews.com, where freedom and liberty still mean something. They mean everything.
Go to johncassnews.com to subscribe for daily access to podcasts and columns from John Cass and others. That's johncassnews.com. Click on subscribe.
Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli, a family-owned restaurant, a Chicago family favorite for over 40 years. Why? Because they're known for sub sandwiches the size of your forearm. No joke. Their 6-inch sub has more meat and cheese in it than any foot-long in an Irish neighborhood. These sandwiches are iconic, famous for their homemade Italian beef, meatballs, burgers, and, of course, delicious Italian subs loaded with mortadella, cabagol, salami, provolone, and their own secret sauce called Love Potion No. 9. This vinegar and oil dressing is famous on its own. Both Augustino's locations boast walls covered in authentic rock and roll memorabilia and artifacts, all celebrating their love for good old-fashioned rock and roll. Augie's is a feast for your eyes and your stomach. Dine in or carry out. Bring the family or the team. Plus, Augie's caters corporate meetings, parties, and celebrations. Don't make it yourself. Make it happen with Augustino's. Go to augustinos.com for locations and menus. That's augustinos.com.
You know, daily stress is such a big deal. Fact is, the terrible impact of stress is very deadly and shortens our lives. Stress attracts diseases just like blood in the water attracts sharks. And for over 40 years on Chicago radio, we continue to share practical concepts from a natural healthcare perspective to help minimize your need for all those dangerous drugs and risky surgeries. So today, it's our dirt cheap adrenal stress index test. No blood, just spit. Now, most people don't do so well on their first go around signaling adrenal gland distress. And then they follow our stress busting strategies and pass their second test with flying colors. So if you can spare a little spit, call for your dirt cheap adrenal stress index test, and we will hold that same special low price for your follow-up test. Just call 800-794-1855. You can't get any cheaper than dirt cheap. That's 800-794-1855.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
6:41, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of Macy's Backstage. Shop Macy's Backstage today for amazing deals on everything you need for summer. Get low prices every day at Macy's Backstage. Find a store near you at macy'sbackstage.com. Off price, on trend, arriving daily. Inbound Kennedy, 45 O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Aiken, a heavy 51 390 to the old post office. Dan Ryan, 25 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. In the locals, you'll hit the brakes at 51st in the Express at Garfield. Tri-State, you're jamming up right at I-88, the Reagan Toll Road, and because of a slow ramp to the outbound Eisenhower. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Cooler and less humid with sunshine mixing with clouds, a high of 73. Currently 63. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. A surprise ruling from the Supreme Court yesterday, and a disappointing one. I don't know which part of the Twitter files was confusing to Justices Coney Barrett, Kavanaugh, and Roberts, but wow. 6-3 decision that the federal government did not unconstitutionally coerce social media companies to censor content of a political and public health nature. I mean, again, the stories that Michael Schellenberger, Matt Taibbi, and others wrote, thanks to what Elon Musk provided, in addition to even some of what Facebook executives like Nick Clegg, emails that were unearthed as part of discovery in that case.
Yeah,
Jay Bhattacharya, Dr. Jay from Stanford.
Yeah, what was his reaction? Because he was one of the victims of this.
He's one of the plaintiffs in the case, right? Because he and Martin Kulldorff, both friends of the show we talked to during COVID, they were censored for asking questions about COVID policy. And they were targeted by Tony Fauci and others. And then the public health officials inside the Biden administration turned the screws on executives at places like Twitter. Jay Bhattacharya tweeted, the court ruled that plaintiffs, Missouri and Louisiana, as well as me and other blacklisted individuals, lack standing to sue. This means that the administration can censor ideas and no person will have standing to enforce the First Amendment. Free speech in America for the moment is dead. It's a big statement, but it was definitely a bad day for the First Amendment and our First Amendment freedoms. There's no question about that. The argument, too, from Coney Barrett, who wrote for the majority, platforms moderated similar content long before any of the government defendants engaged in the challenged conduct and continued to exercise their independent judgment. it's sort of this, she almost comes up with like a benign coercion standard, as if there is such a thing. So because they were moderating the content, it was okay for the government to come in and provide some encouragement in particular directions as it pertains to their moderation of the content on their platforms.
And the White House was so happy. KJP, she said, this is going to help the administration, quote, continue our important work with technology companies to protect the safety and security of the American people after years of Republican attacks on public officials.
Yeah. I mean,
Please.
Boy, it's just really difficult to make out the logic here and this sort of cowardly punting of the issue on a standing technicality. Who would have standing then? I mean, in a sense, they focus on standing, but they also, the majority also sort of dismisses the idea that the government acted inappropriately here, using cutouts to do its bidding, essentially.
Yeah, no,
to do what it couldn't do legally, which of course they can't do legally either. In his pretty scathing dissent, Justice Alito, the court shirks the duty to tackle the free speech issue, and thus permits the successful campaign of coercion in this case to stand as an attractive model for future officials who want to control what the people say, hear, and think. That is regrettable. What the officials did in this case was more subtle than the ham-handed censorship found to be unconstitutional in Volo, but it was no less coercive, and because of the perpetrators' high positions, it was even more dangerous. It was blatantly unconstitutional, and the country may come to regret the court's failure to say so.
This is a real danger to democracy.
I hope it's tackled tonight. I hope Trump goes after some of the justices he nominated and that were confirmed. That would be Barrett and Kavanaugh, because I think they got this one wrong, and it's a bad one to get wrong. Professor William Jacobson is the clinical professor of law and director of the Securities Law Clinic at Cornell. He's also the founder of LegalInsurrection.com and the president of the Legal Insurrection Foundation, as well as the Equal Protection Project. Professor Jacobson, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me back on.
So who got it right, Alito or Amy Coney Barrett?
Oh, clearly Alito. I mean, this technically was what they call a standing decision, that the court ruled that these plaintiffs did not have the legal right to sue for injunctive relief, so future relief, because they had not shown that they were subject to future threat of censorship. So in a narrow sense, that was the ruling. And in fact, at one point in one of the footnotes, they say we are not reaching the merits of the controversy. But of course, as you've noted, sprinkled throughout the majority opinion are various disses on the substance of the claim here. So while that wasn't technically the ruling, and I did see one of the attorneys in the case for the plaintiffs say we're going to continue in the district court for damages, it's a pretty devastating decision, because if these plaintiffs don't have standing, then who does? Which is the question you asked.
Yeah.
One of the participants asked that you quoted. Who's going to be able to bring this? Basically, nobody. So,
well, the other thing too is so you didn't show threat of future censorship. Past censorship is an indication of a threat of future censorship, particularly if you green light it, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And so basically what this says is not only what we kind of already knew, is that the platforms acting on their own as private parties can do whatever they want. But it goes further, because it basically clears the way for the government to tell those private actors do a variety of coercive measures or coercive language, because all of these entities are highly regulated in various ways by the federal government, that can pressure them to do that censorship in the way the government likes. And that's the reality of it. It's almost like the majority, and particularly the three quote-unquote conservatives who went with the majority, Barrett and Kavanaugh and Roberts, are not living in the real world. In the real world, these platforms react to government pressure and act accordingly, and that's what the evidence showed here.
Well, that's
this loss.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but I mean that's what's so unnerving about it. It is so wildly naive. I mean, Kavanaugh, Roberts, Coney Barrett, they can't be that naive. It's the equivalent of the protection money guy coming to your store and saying, "Boy, I'd sure hate to have something happen to your business." Well, he didn't threaten me. I mean, he didn't say, "I'm going to do something to your business if you don't pay me." He didn't use those explicit words. He just said it would be terrible if something happened to your business. I mean, that's sort of the way that, and they say, well, there's nothing explicit. There was no direction. So there's no direct coercion. But all of the context was clearly of a censorious nature. I mean, it's a joke.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you say, if they come up to you and say, "Nice kneecaps you have there." Shame if something happened to them. Okay.
Yeah.
Like didn't say, "Tomorrow I'm going to break your kneecaps and therefore you can go into court and have standing to get an injunction." No, it's the government saying, "Nice business you have there, Facebook, Meta. Shame if something happened to it." That is enough of a threat that I think injunctive relief is warranted if you're one of the people who were censored. And so that's really the issue here, is that this is an otherworldly sort of decision based on, and I think the cases they cited were from, dozens, if not, almost 100 years ago about, presidents making comments about media and things like that. Jawboning, I think, is the language they use. This is a totally different world. The federal government could really mess in a big way with these platforms, and by putting pressure on them. And so, I mean, it's legally, I think it's wrong on their standard for standing. And as a practical matter, it means social media discussion and social media vibrancy is gone. It will be left wing even more than it is, because they know that nobody can do anything.
Now,
if you feel you're being...
Oh, I'm sorry. Go on. You feel you're being what?
If you feel you're being throttled, you can't go to Facebook and say, "Please give me your emails with the government." They're not going to give that to you. The only reason we had this evidence is because there was a lawsuit. And there were subpoenas issued by, I think it was the state of Missouri, subpoena power. Normal citizen can't go to Twitter or to now X or to Facebook or to Instagram and say, "Please give me your documents." They're not going to do it. They'll laugh at you. They won't even respond. So that means that the courthouse door has been shut as a practical matter.
All right. The Supreme Court still has a number of decisions to render. How do you think they're going to decide when it comes to former President Trump's presidential immunity case?
Well, I think it's going to be the three nominally conservative justices. So as soon as we see who writes the decision, we will know. Okay, if it's Roberts, it's going to be a middle-of-the-road sort of thing. So I think what's going to happen is a mixed verdict, which is that he has some presidential immunity. It's not absolute to the full extent that the President Trump claims it is. And I, would not be shocked if they even use the example that Trump uses about him shooting somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue. So I think we will get a decision to say that would not be covered by presidential immunity, but clearly acts taken as president would be. And that middle ground, we'll kick it down to the lower court and let them figure it out.
He is Professor William Jacobson, clinical professor of law, director of the Securities Law Clinic at Cornell, founder of LegalInsurrection.com, and president of the Legal Insurrection Foundation, as well as the Equal Protection Project. Professor Jacobson, thanks as always.
Great. Take care.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
It's something I look forward to every day. That's taking my Balance of Nature 6 capsules. You're getting 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables. And I love it too when I get a craving during the middle of the day. Instead of grabbing a cookie or some chocolate, I just grab one of those fruit capsules and chew on it. And voila. Know that you're doing something good for your body, your mind, your heart, and your soul. People who take it have more energy. They love it. They come up to me all the time and say, hey, I love my Balance of Nature. I met one time a man who was 55, and he said, I started taking Balance of Nature when I was 50, and I still feel 50 years old, even though time has passed. So be one of the cool kids. Get your bottles of fruits and veggie supplements today. Call 800-246-8751, 800-246-8751. First-timers get 35% off and free shipping, or simply go online to balanceofnature.com and use coupon code Chicago.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here. Let me ask you this. Does inflation feel worse than what we're being told in the news? That's because the official inflation rate doesn't tell the whole story. Since January 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but what you can do is stop your losses today. How? By diversifying your savings into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. When you're done, your money will be parked in a tangible asset with a proven history. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax advantaged status. So text PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
Hi, it's Sean Thompson here. You know when you're at the mall and you go to those directory signs, the one that says you are here? Well, imagine that directory is a map of your preparation for retirement. Would you know where you are? My friend Tom Fortino at Alpha Wealth Group is offering you the opportunity to not only find yourself on that map, but also find the route toward a successful retirement. He calls it his retirement roadmap. You'll get an analysis of where you are right now, whether you're at risk if the market drops again, whether you're taking advantage of the latest tax changes, and much, much more. To get an idea where you stand on the road to retirement, call my friend Tom Fortino at the Alpha Wealth Group today at 630-934-1855. That's 630-934-1855. And ask for the retirement roadmap, or visit alphawealthgroup.com. And don't forget to listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings right here on AM 560, The Answer at 9 a.m.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 7:07, we'll talk more presidential horse race and debate prep with Noel Rothman. That's 7:07.
But now let's get news from here at home and around the world. Here is the one and only Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
Amy and Dan, the Bulls went local with their first-round pick last night. The Highland Park 4th of July parade shooting suspect is rejecting a plea deal. We'll get reaction from family members. Chicago leaders have reached a deal with groups planning to protest during the DNC in August. The National Weather Service confirms 4 tornadoes hit the western suburbs last Saturday. A ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court about the federal bribery statute expected to impact the trial of former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan. Cubs lost to San Francisco while the White Sox blanked by the Dodgers.
The election is still more than 4 months away. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, but the first Trump-Biden showdown is tonight, the CNN presidential debate.
We hope that these moderators, who both have a long history of anti-Trump statements, will put those aside to, again, focus on the issues that matter to the millions of people who will be tuning in tonight.
Trump campaign spokesperson Caroline Leavitt also just told Fox.
We hope they will ask Joe Biden why he lied to CNN's face on the debate stage in 2020 about the existence of the Hunter Biden laptop. And we hope that they will focus on inflation and immigration.
President Biden's been prepping and practicing at Camp David. Fox's Jackie Heinrich reports from the White House. Democrats
put up billboards around Atlanta welcoming former President Trump as a convicted felon, finding ways to get under Trump's skin, a key goal for Team Biden staffers, according to an NBC report.
In 2 hours, we'll get more Supreme Court rulings with cases left to decide as justices end this term. Among them, the Trump claim he should be immune from prosecution and one that got leaked.
That document, quickly removed but not before being viewed by Bloomberg News, shows the justices appearing to side with the Biden administration in a challenge to Idaho's restrictive abortion law. The case centers on whether federal law supersedes the state on performing abortions in emergency situations to protect the patient's health.
Fox's Jared Halpern. An attempted military coup fails in South America. A Bolivian general now under arrest.
Supporters of President Luis Arce gathered in the capital, La Paz. They wanted to topple our president, says one, but the Bolivian people didn't allow it. The rebellion is over, but Bolivia's political and economic problems remain unsolved.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Houthi militants have attacked yet another ship in the Red Sea from Yemen. A U.S. coalition warship is on the way, responding to a distress call. It's believed to be the third ship targeted by the Iran-backed militants in that region this week. America's listening to Fox News.
62 degrees in Chicago, clouds and sunshine this morning at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. The Highland Park July 4 parade shooting suspect is rejecting a plea deal his attorneys had worked out. Robert Cremo III made the surprise reversal yesterday when the judge asked Cremo if he wanted to go forward with that plea deal. He said no.
He is evil and manipulative and brought us here today probably knowing what he was going to do.
Lake County prosecutors say they're prepared to go to trial next year. DuPage County prosecutors won't file charges in a deadly police shooting of a man in suburban Carroll Stream earlier this year. DuPage County State's Attorney Robert Berlin said he couldn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt. The family's legal team disagrees.
Any objective person watching that video, you see the officers break into Isaac's apartment, break into his room, and immediately shoot and kill him. These officers should have chilled, and they should have got a warrant. They should have got consent.
Goodloe was shot and killed after officers entered his apartment in response to a domestic violence call in February. The family is prepared to continue a lawsuit in federal court. A ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court about the federal bribery statute is expected to impact the high-profile trial of former Democrat Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan. AM 560's Greg Bishop sat down with experts and explains what may change.
Madigan was charged with 22 counts of corruption in 2022. He was set to go to trial in April, but with the U.S. Supreme Court taking up a bribery conviction challenge out of Indiana, the judge postponed the trial until October. Wednesday, the Supreme Court issued their ruling. St. Xavier University professor David Parker said the ruling opens a can of worms by narrowing bribery to something for something before the fact.
And they kind of came back and said, well, if it's merely just a thank you, a gratuity, it doesn't violate the law.
Parker expects the outcome to have some impact on Madigan's case.
So ultimately, it can get him off the hook for some of the charges, but not all of them.
The ruling isn't expected to affect 15 of 22 counts against Madigan. I'm Greg Bishop.
Since Chicago will not do it anymore, a western suburb is stepping up for the 4th of July with a fireworks show that will be bigger than most. In fact, it will be the largest one in the state. Itasca will host Illinois' largest fireworks show on July 4 at Hamilton Lakes along Route 53. Admission is free, but on-site parking will cost you $25 a car. The Bulls went local with their first-round draft pick last night, selecting former Hinsdale Central forward Mattis Buzelis with the 11th pick in round 1. The Bulls do not have a second-round pick. Illinois guard Terrence Shannon Jr. was selected in round 1 by the Timberwolves. Cubs lost to San Francisco. White Sox lost to the Dodgers. The news, a service of Ingrace. with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr., now heard on Sunday morning right here on AM 560. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
November 2nd, 2020, marked the 100th anniversary of the first commercial radio broadcast. We're still here, and we're bigger and better than ever. You can still listen to us over this great radio station, but now there are no limitations. Your smartphone is now your smart radio. Listen to us online on the app, TuneIn.com, iHeartRadio, and Odyssey.com. Your smart speaker can find us too. With radio, there is no separation anxiety. We're always on. AM 560, The Answer.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here. Let me ask you this. Does inflation feel worse than what we're being told in the news? That's because the official inflation rate doesn't tell the whole story. Since January 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but what you can do is stop your losses today. How? By diversifying your savings into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. When you're done, your money will be parked in a tangible asset with a proven history. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax-advantaged status. So text PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
My name is Dr. Zhang. I'm a doctor of podiatric medicine.
My name is Todd. I'm a paramedic firefighter. I've been on the job for 28 years.
My name is Dr. Peter Munda. I'm a chiropractor in New York, Long Island.
I've been taking Balance of Nature for 23 years.
I love Balance of Nature, and this is definitely a product that I would recommend to other people, and I'll never stop taking it.
How many 70-year-old pictures you know? As far as Balance of Nature goes, I'll keep taking this stuff until the day I die, you know?
I'm almost 55 years old, and because I have so much vitality, I can really enjoy the great outdoors. Our bodies are kind of like machines. If you do not give the machine the proper nutrition, it's not going to work very well. Simple as that.
Splash into your summer with our summer savings. Go to balanceofnature.com and get 50% off your first set as a preferred customer by using discount code Chicago.
7:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And this update is a service of Papa Nicholas Coffee, a Chicagoland tradition for over 5 generations, combining heritage and innovation in every cup. Hot air roasted locally, cold blended in small batches to ensure premium quality. Online at papanicholas.com. Inbound Edens at a fairly normal 22 right now. Lake Cook Road to the junction. Kennedy inbound 1 hour. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Dan Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th into the Circle. Right now, the Jane Addams overturned vehicle left lane blocked eastbound on I-90 between Randall and the Elgin Toll. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Cooler and a bit less humid today. A mix of clouds and sun. Our high today 73. Partly cloudy for tonight, low 62. Clouds and breezy tomorrow. Afternoon shower and thunderstorm. Could see some flash flooding. The high tomorrow afternoon 82. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
There is a beach hazard statement up for northern Illinois and northwest Indiana until 10 p.m. tonight. 63 at O'Hare. Your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So tonight's the big debate starting at 8 o'clock Chicago time. And we got the rundown from those flight attendants over at CNN are telling you where the exit rows are and what your responsibilities, seats, upright position, and the lights here, and all
Place
that
a
jazz.
mask on yourselves before helping others.
And so one of the things that's interesting is the ramping up of ads on TV for this debate specifically, because you're going to have tens of millions of people watching. It's been a little quiet. You haven't seen a lot of campaign ads, even on the social media platforms, even digitally.
I know. I wonder why that is. Are they just playing in swing states? I don't know.
I think it's starting to pick up, as interest picks up, and there'll be a lot of interest surrounding tonight's event. And we played one ad that speaks to the border security issue, which I assume will get a lot of airing tonight. Here's another one from a Trump-affiliated PAC in terms of, supporting Trump, clearly.
Joe Biden opened our borders. Then, guess what happened? Laken Riley, a college student, was savagely murdered on a run in Georgia. Mother of 5, Rachel Morin, was raped and murdered in Maryland. 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungary was savagely killed in Texas. All 3 brutally murdered by illegal immigrants, authorities say. All 3 gone because Joe Biden allowed criminals into our midst. The horrors won't stop until we remove Joe Biden from office. Defend US PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Yeah, I think you're going to hear those names a lot tonight. I expect you will from Trump, and I don't think it would be wise for Biden to try these arguments that are being advanced by his surrogates on the cable news networks. We have Americans who commit crimes too.
That's victim blaming. I don't care what anybody says. They're saying, if she wasn't killed by an illegal, there's a chance she'd be killed by somebody else. I guess if it was her fault or any of these girls' fault. And by the way, 12-year-old Jocelyn, she did try and fight back when she was being tortured for 2 hours because both of the illegal monsters that were here, one on ICE electronic monitoring, keep that in mind, they had scratch marks because she was clawing and fighting back.
So I would expect Trump to spend a lot of time on this and provide detail, and I assume, I think it would be wise if he recounted the conversations he had with the families of Laken Riley and Rachel Morin in particular. I don't know if he's spoken to the family of Jocelyn Nungary as well, but he has had those conversations, we know, with the other 2 families that were profiled in that ad.
And Biden never called the families.
And this is an opportunity for him to challenge him. What do you have to say to those families about these border policies? And the other argument, in addition to, we have Americans who commit crimes too, that's being offered by Biden surrogates. In addition to the sort of thoughts and prayers, you get that. But the other argument to deflect is, there's something new here. So what we do, and you heard this from Mayorkas yesterday in Tucson. Well, here he is.
The safety and security of the American public is indeed our highest priority. We screen and vet individuals when we encounter them. If we learn of derogatory information subsequently, later in the process, then we take enforcement action accordingly. The individual who's responsible for a heinous criminal act is the criminal, and we need to bring the full force of the law to bear on that criminal, just as I did for 12 years as a federal prosecutor. We encountered dangerous people then, and we prosecuted them accordingly, and that will indeed continue.
Yeah, so when you can't address the specific, you sort of make a general statement of principle, and that's what Mayorkas did, and then he went on when he was on CNN to say, this is nothing new. We've had this problem for a long time through previous administrations, dating back to when I was a federal prosecutor. And what you do is focus on securing the border and keeping Americans safe. And when you have these terrible incidents, then you bring the force of law to ensure that justice is served. And so I assume probably less articulate, but you get something like that from Biden in addition to, and here's what I've done. I issue this executive order and I'm balancing it, trying to be the reasonable person as opposed to the xenophobe over to my right, and so on and so forth. So I think that's what you're going to get. But I think the more time Trump spends on this issue, on the substance of it, the better it is for him tonight.
And they pivot rather than discuss that these were preventable crimes. They go to the rate of crimes by other Americans.
Well, that's the whole. That's
Right.
the whole trying to conflate the issue as opposed. It's not a competition. We try to eliminate, remove people who are threats to public safety, whether they're indigenous or foreign. But so why would we import?
Well, if this
people
is
who are threats to the public. I mean, it's so obvious. It doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't need to be explained. It just needs to be addressed, and that's what Trump should expect to have to do tonight. For more on this, Noah Rothman, senior writer at National Review, author of the book "The Rise of the New Puritans: Fighting Back Against Progressives' War on Fun." Noah, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So the expectations you have for tonight's debate on. You can take the on the substance or not on the substance.
Well, I was listening to the discussion that you were having at the outset of the segment, and I was surprised I didn't hear what I think is going to be Joe Biden's go-to response when it comes to immigration issues. If Donald Trump does what you say he will do and outline the effects of the migrant crisis and how they've allowed it to metastasize and all the people who are harmed and who will be harmed as a result, is Joe Biden is going to pivot and say, well, Republicans killed the immigration bill.
Right.
I wanted to do something about immigration. You didn't want to. In fact, you said the following, quote, if this deal fails, they're blaming it on me. I say that's okay. Blame it on me, please. That's your quote.
Right, but I mean, but that's an easy.
And I will. I'm happy to blame it on you, Mr. Trump. I mean, you can absolutely see where the demagoguery is going to take it.
You're right. I mean, that's the other angle too. We heard that from Elizabeth Warren over the weekend as well in the Sunday talkies. That we tried to do something and he killed it. But I mean, that's
Trump
an easy.
didn't have that.
But that's an easy response for Trump. Yeah, those were my words because it was a bad deal. It was bad legislation. It wasn't going to do.
Yes.
Right. It wasn't going to do what.
That's a trap.
It wasn't going to do what you said it was going to do. And by the way, the other thing is, if you wanted to move that legislation, why didn't you do it in the first 2 years when you had control of Congress?
Now that's a better response. So there's two ways he can go there. One, he can say what you just said. Why didn't you exercise your authority? Why did you allow this to metastasize? You obviously, and your executive orders indicate that you said you needed a congressional authority and you didn't. That's the best way to go.
Yeah.
The way that you suggested initially that he should go, which is to explain this legislation, to outline what it does and what it doesn't do.
No, I think
illustrate why it was duplicative. That is going to be that's a fraught prospect for Donald Trump to spend. By the way, all of the 2 minutes he has before the microphones are automatically cut off on him.
Yeah, I think you just dismiss it out of hand. I don't know that you get into the weeds on it, but yeah, you're right. I mean, that's the point is you prove that you didn't need it with your. Yes, I agree. That's probably more crisp to just do that and then remind him that they've had every opportunity, not just in his term, but during Obama's terms too, to do something on this, and they've chosen not to.
Because if you're trying to educate the public on this, it's going to obviously take a lot of your time. But it's not just that Americans might not respond favorably to the particulars of the bill. The public does believe the immigration crisis is a crisis. They do want to see something done.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that something was not done in this case is Joe Biden's only advantage on the issue.
So is CNN going to be fair and balanced, Noah?
Well, this is. I just polished off a corner post for National Review on this morning, and we're all going to hate these rules. Everyone is going to hate these rules.
Yep.
They've given the discretion that a moderator would have, a human being would have, over to machines. The machine is going to cut you off after 2 minutes. The machine is going to take your microphone away. It's going to prevent these candidates from having direct exchanges from one another. It's going to prevent them from fully articulating a thought, which maybe needs to be articulated, and a moderator would say, okay, you're rambling. Or you're making a valid point. I'm going to give you an extra 10 seconds to finish it off. That is not what we're going to see tonight. We're going to see a very regimented program. But CNN's going to take all the heat for this, and they don't deserve it. These are Joe Biden's rules. Joe Biden set out no audience, TV studio, microphones cut off after 2 minutes. Those were his rules. They were rules to which Donald Trump eagerly accepted without addendum.
Mm-hmm.
And CNN is merely implementing the president's, and both candidates actually now, because they both accepted these terms. But it was Joe Biden's desire to see these terms implemented, and CNN is merely doing it. They're going to get all the heat for this, and that's going to satisfy both partisans, by the way, because I don't think it's going to benefit Joe Biden. His best moment in the 2020 debate, the verse debate between himself and Donald Trump, was when Trump is ceaselessly interrupting him, interminably interrupting him, and Joe Biden turns and goes, "Will you shut up, man?"
Mm-hmm.
That was a good moment for him.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't get that moment. He doesn't get that moment anymore.
You know,
and
what
the second debate was good because
on the CNN.
The second debate was great. It was a town hall setting, and then the third debate, which I was really looking forward to, got canceled because of COVID. And I think that would have helped Trump if he had nailed that debate. I think that would have helped him. But
well,
Donald Trump is on defense or on defense because he's ahead in the polls. It's Joe Biden who needs to shake up the race. That's why we're having such an early debate, because Joe Biden needs to go on offense and change the dynamic of this race.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump needs to present himself as a calm, coherent, viable alternative to Joe Biden in the presidency. And a debate in which he doesn't have the ability to do crowd work, to thrive off the crowd, where he can't just extemporaneously riff or interrupt his opponent, advances that objective and makes him seem less like a performer and more like a president.
Yeah, the thing that will interest me the most tonight, get your reaction to this, is they have these 1-minute follow-up questions that the moderators can ask to clarify a point or build on the discussion of the particular topic. I'm going to be really interested to see how Tapper and Bash use those 1-minute follow-ups, if they're going to try to really just focus on making Trump talk as much as possible, focus on the follow-ups with him, or are they going to use some to potentially try to rehabilitate something Joe Biden says? It's going to be that to me is where, not the initial question, but how they use those follow-ups and what they dig into to try to perhaps tilt things as best they can Biden's way.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's the big open question. Another open question is the degree to which we get policy talk, which we've been focusing on prohibitively, and what we probably will get more of, which is competing personalities. And by the way, the respective deficits that both candidates face, which are really not on policy so much as they are on persona, on Joe Biden's infirmities,
right,
and Donald Trump's liabilities as they relate to his conduct in between Election Day and Inauguration Day in 2020 and 2021.
And
that's what I think is going to have the most fireworks.
Well, right, sure. Twice impeached convicted felon. And Trump's response should be?
Well, and January 6th.
And January 6th.
Both campaigns are preparing for January 6th related questions, and in particular, Donald Trump's approach to the vacating the convictions of the January 6th rioters. And I don't know what Donald Trump's response should be, frankly, because he doesn't seem inclined to concede any inch to his critics and opponents on that. And it's a liability for him. It's probably his biggest liability. And I don't necessarily think he's inclined to neutralize that liability by conceding the point that January 6th was bad. I don't hear him willing to concede that. So he's going to absorb that liability. And maybe it doesn't matter, because Joe Biden's infirmities are as big a liability, and Joe Biden can't concede that, even if he wanted to. There's nothing he can do to make that better. So I would expect to see a lot of deflection and an effort to redirect the questioning and the focus of the moderators and the candidate away from their respective liabilities and towards some more favorable terrain.
Are they going to ask President Trump, do you accept the results of the 2020 election?
Yeah, right. And
what should his response
be? The
be?
best way for him to navigate that. Yeah, the best way for him to navigate that would be to say, look, I'm not president. I'm not in the White House.
Yeah, right. Right, exactly.
So obviously,
and he
left. This is a silly line of questioning. Obviously, yeah, right. Just to joke about it. That would really neutralize it. If he gets defensive about it, then it opens up a bigger liability. But I've seen Republicans navigate that issue in that way, and it really effectively disarms the line of question.
Do you think that they'll bring Kristen Welker from off stage to ask that question and just continue asking it for 30 minutes until she gets an answer that's satisfactory to her, like she does on Meet the Press?
Well, yes, that would, again, that's another network. Kristen would have to jump ship from NBC.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Yeah, I get it. But, it can be a collaborative team effort. Sure. You wouldn't be surprised. The Cook Report, interesting. One of the people that works with Charlie Cook was talking the other day, and their analysis finds that Biden needs to focus on the 18% or so of voters who voted for him in 2020 in the swing states, who voted for him in 2020, who are not with him now, because that's where the race is. That's why Trump has the lead. We know these are sort of surface skimming voters, generally speaking, because they oscillate a bit. But if you're in Camp Biden, and the threat to democracy, which you've been plying for some time now, isn't moving those people at this point. I mean, what could?
Yeah. So what you hear from the Biden campaign now ceaselessly is this notion that nobody's paying attention to this race. You hear this from the Biden campaign people on the record and off the record all the time in these reports ahead of this debate. Nobody's paying attention. We're hoping this is the starting bell of the race for people actually to tune in finally. And that's true of Biden voters. It is not true of the general electorate. Back in May, Gallup found levels of enthusiasm and attention paid to the race were approximate to previous cycles, trailing 2008, but only 2008. In fact, there's more interest in this election than in 2004, even 2016. And when you see, I think Axios had this poll this morning, which indicated that Republican voters are very eager to tune into this debate, and Joe Biden's voters are less so. They're just less enthusiastic about this race. It's Joe Biden who needs to enthuse and enliven his voters, not necessarily to convince, although it be desirable, to convince those who have jumped off the Biden train since 2020 to get back on it, but to enliven the partisans who would be Biden voters who are otherwise disillusioned or disaffected with his candidacy and his campaign. That explains why you see so much prohibitive focus from the Biden campaign on some of the least sympathetic elements of American society, because they're Biden voters and they're frustrated with Joe Biden. But the problem is that those voters are engaged. They're just engaged to hate Joe Biden. What he needs are the voters who you don't hear from, who you don't see, a quiet minority of likely Biden voters who are just not going to turn out unless they have some inducement to do so.
And could that inducement? I mean, it seems to me this is the sort of their last best gasp. And it's worked over the last couple of cycles. So why not stick with it? With the inducement being abortion.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. You will see a lot of that. If polls are to be believed, it's somewhere between the third and fourth most important issue to voters, behind immigration and the economy and inflation. So it would be malpractice, frankly, for CNN's moderators not to bring up abortion, just by virtue of the level of salience the issue has in this election cycle. And Joe Biden is obliged, professionally and politically, to make the most hay as he possibly can out of that issue. So, yeah, you're going to see a lot of that. But it won't be sufficient. I don't think it's sufficient. It's not as though abortion hasn't been an issue for the past two consecutive cycles, this cycle and the midterm cycle. And we haven't seen that kind of enthusiasm from his voters as a voting issue, save in small turnout elections. The problem is the big theory of Donald Trump's realignment of the electorate is that you sacrifice a lot of these educated, affluent, suburban voters who used to make up the backbone of the Republican electorate. They're disaffected with the Republican Party under Trump. But in the trade-off, you enliven a bunch of low propensity voters who turn out in presidential elections and presidential elections alone. That's the theory of the race. And so far, it's looking like a pretty solid theory if the polls are to be believed. What Joe Biden needs to do is not to enliven. He can't rely on low propensity voters as Democrats traditionally do. He has to engage as many high propensity voters as he possibly can, and abortion is one of those issues. It's frankly a luxury issue. I know a lot of Democrats believe that this isn't something that is central to the identity of especially low-income Americans who suffer greatly at the hands of a pregnancy. That's what they tell themselves. But if you look at the demography of who really focuses on abortion as a political issue, it is affluent white suburbanites.
Yep.
That's his base.
Noah Rothman, senior writer at National Review, author of The Rise of the New Puritans, Fighting Back Against Progressives' War on Fun. Noah, thanks as always.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Let's see, if something costs less and people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, right? And that is MediShare, an amazing program. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save families up to $500 a month, and that's huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of typical health insurance plans. Double. MediShare works. It's been around for 30 years, and members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a nationwide PPO network. So yes, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you want to just plan you're happy with, You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes and see what you can save. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here is the number you need, 844-94-BIBLE. That is 844-94-BIBLE, 844-94-BIBLE.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I work for the New York City Fire Department. I've been using Balance of Nature for 8 years, I believe. It's been phenomenal. And I just got retired after 33 years. I work long hours, a lot of overtime. I teach at the Fire Academy. I run with the mornings. I work out all the time. And your product has been so successful for me in my regiment. I have nothing but high praise for you guys.
Splash into your summer with Balance of Nature's summer savings. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 50% off your first set. Don't miss out. This offer is only available while supplies last. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited time offer by using discount code Chicago.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Scott Bartmus, co-founder of ESCO, a security and fire alarm services business, and a customer of Signature Bank. We work hard to give our customers peace of mind, so it's nice to know that while we have our customers' backs, partners like Signature Bank have ours. When COVID hit, there was a lot of uncertainty for many businesses, particularly surrounding the PPP loan program, with parameters and deadlines changing constantly. The executives from Signature Bank worked weekends alongside their staff, filling out and submitting applications to ensure they took care of us. That type of dedication is hard to find, but we found it with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up at Chicago, on Chicago's Morning Answer.
737, Tucker Carlson exchange on the media bias with an Aussie journalist. Very entertaining and instructive, 737.
What about that fifth star on the Chicago flag? But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
We're at 732, 63 degrees, and we're watching a wildfire this morning in Oregon's high desert, growing rapidly. It's encroaching on the popular vacation destination of Bend. Calm returning to Bolivia's capital after troops led by a top general stormed the presidential palace and then quickly retreated. It was a tumultuous scene that threatened to pitch the long-troubled South American democracy into chaos. The presidential debate between Democrat Joe Biden and Republican Donald Trump is tonight. Caroline Levitt laid out what topics her team is hoping the CNN moderators will ask candidates while on Fox and Friends this morning.
We hope that they will focus on inflation and immigration because poll after poll shows us that both of those issues are the number 1 and 2 issues in this country right now.
Fox News polling says 3 in 10 voters believe the debate performance will be extremely important for their November vote. AM 560 will carry coverage of the CNN presidential debate from Fox News Radio beginning at 8 p.m. tonight. Cancer centers are reporting drug shortages. Among 28 centers across the U.S., 89% say at least one drug used to treat cancer, its symptoms or side effects, is in short supply. The Bulls went local with their first-round draft pick last night. The team selecting Hinsdale Central forward Modest Buzelis with the 11th pick in round 1. Buzelis left to play academy basketball during COVID, then played in the NBA's G League after starting out at Hinsdale Central.
Thank you to everyone that doubted me because I wouldn't be here without y'all. I use it as fuel, and everybody that supported me, I can't thank you enough. The support cast has been insane.
Both of Modest's parents played professionally basketball in Lithuania before settling in Willowbrook. The Highland Park 4th of July parade shooting suspect is rejecting a plea deal his attorneys had worked out. Now Lake County prosecutors say they're prepared to go to trial next year. DuPage County prosecutors will not file charges in a deadly police shooting of a man in Carroll Stream earlier this year. Isaac Goodloe III was shot and killed after officers entered his apartment in response to a domestic violence call in February. His family condemned the shooting and later filed federal paperwork. National Weather Service is confirming 4 tornadoes hit the Chicago area last Saturday, one tracking near Elburn. Another tornado began near Wheaton-Warrenville South High School before tracking through the south side of Wheaton and lifting off at the Morton Arboretum. Cubs on a 4-game losing streak following a 4-3 loss to San Francisco. The White Sox blanked by the Dodgers 4-0. And ahead of next week's draft, the Blackhawks adding a pair of forwards, swinging a deal with Vancouver to add forward Ilya Mikhailov and Sam Lafferty. The news service of Health Insurance Mentors. Are you 65 or older and thinking about Medicare? Call Stephen Tucker today. Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Call Health Insurance Mentors at 630-674-1551 or healthinsurancementors.com. 7:36. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This radio station is always on, but sometimes you need more content that you can take with you anywhere. That's why we invented the SalemPodcastNetwork.com. You'll find all the great hosts on this radio station, plus a few more, like Charlie Kirk, Dinesh D'Souza, Trish Regan, Jenna Ellis, and Dennis and Julie. There's literally no end to what we can teach you. It's like radio on demand, and just like radio, it's always on. Go find out what you're missing. Download the app, SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
As a business owner, do you have a strategy for exiting your business? Most business owners don't. Studies done by the Exit Planning Institute show 75% of business owners who don't have an exit plan are dissatisfied with their exit, and 80% of businesses put to market never sell. Total Clarity Wealth Management understands the hesitation to discuss exiting. Will customers leave? Will competitors take advantage? Will key employees leave? That's why they offer confidential planning. Contact Anne-Marie at Total Clarity Wealth Management. Discover what the financial foundation should be to pursue an exit that is satisfying. At some point, you are going to leave your business. Will it be on your terms? Total Clarity can show you the way to financial readiness and keep you on track. Anne-Marie is a certified exit planning advisor. Visit TotalClarityBusiness.com. That's TotalClarityBusiness.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Total Clarity Wealth Management, Inc., a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost, month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost.
Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-353-2973. That's 800-353-2973. What do you have to lose? Call 800-353-2973. Again, 800-353-2973.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel. Home to the biggest shows on TV, like Sebastian Gorka, weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, followed by Stacey Washington at 5. Join SNC, where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free now on Zumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/Zumo.
As a family-owned business, your complete satisfaction means the world to Audi Morton Grove. We are dedicated to making the McGrath experience your best experience. Whether you're looking to buy a new Audi, in for service, or just taking a test drive, Audi Morton Grove will always give you the personal attention you deserve. For your convenience, we are now open Sundays for service. Visit us at 7000 Gulf Road in Morton Grove or online at audimortongrove.com. Service, value, reputation. That's the power of McGrath.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
7:40. Let's check our roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Typical morning heavies on the inbound Kennedy. Jammed up central to Montrose, 1 hour into the circle. Eichen, 66 minutes, 390 to the old post office, especially heavy Manheim all the way into Damon. Stevenson outbound, you're jammed up California to Cicero and the Des Plaines River Bridge all the way to the Tri-State. Traveling on the Jane Addams, an earlier accident now cleared up eastbound on I-90 between Tyrell Road to right before the Elgin Toll Plaza. 8094 clearing an accident. An exit ramp partially blocked with a stalled semi as well. It's all happening on eastbound 8094 between Kennedy Avenue and Burr. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. A cooler and less humid day. Beautiful out there. Sunshine will mix with clouds and a high of 73. A low of 62 overnight. Sunny and 63 right now. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So I did this panel discussion I mentioned at 1871, the tech incubator downtown.
Yeah.
They had like a 2-day AI conference. This panel discussion on artificial intelligence.
Is that what AI stands for?
I learned that from Kamala. Yeah. AI and journalism and the impact. And it was a good discussion and a good panel, good group of attendees too. But
who was on the panel with you?
Well, Sasiki Felix, formerly of Telemundo, was the moderator.
Yes.
There was another Latina news person who.
Oh, you know her name?
You? Well, no.
Oh.
No, it's somebody I just met. It was her name was Laura, but I think she it's a big Latino news organization she works for. I think it's if not global, it's regional, like Central and South America.
Okay.
And then a guy on the other side, the AI development side, and then one of her former colleagues at Telemundo Chicago. So anyway, but it was interesting how much focus there was, not by me either, on bias and trying to root out bias. I mean, it's just
they're the bias.
Well, yes, right, to
a certain degree.
Right, in terms of where the problem lies, it's like, right, it's the group thing coming from the left, yes, clearly, and the silencing of dissenting opinions. Please see the Murthy case and ignore the majority opinion. There's no question. But it's more than, not even sort of like, it wasn't like a right-wing, left-wing thing in terms of what their concern was. So many people were just like, they're just so committed, the sort of old guard reporters, to this completely fictional idea of objectivity. We just need to present the facts. Okay, well, whose facts? What facts are you including? What facts are you leaving out? You're just doing this idea that the press just does the who, what, where, and when,
and how. Yes.
No. No. It's just because the how starts to get into, explanation.
Okay.
Right? And so, you guys start getting an explanation, then you get into, well, of course, but no, that's what everybody actually does. So it's just this fictional idea. So how is AI going to impact that? All AI is going to do, since, at least at this stage, these are just large language models, and they're driven by human intelligence. They're not doing these AI platforms are not doing independent thinking. Their recall mechanisms and that good at quickly recalling lots of information that they have seen. So whatever's online, and oh, by the way, there's a lot of records and a lot of information that's not online. So that's not going to be factored into AI at this stage. And, analyzing large data sets. But in terms of the context and consequence of a particular topic or story, news event, well, that's still going to be up to the human being. And so the bias is inherent, but it's like they think that it was almost like it turned into a discussion about philosophy. So it's just interesting how people are receiving this who are laymen when it comes to AI, which I basically am too. It's almost like it goes right to philosophy. Like, is AI going to make us better people or worse people? And it's like, if you're a bad person, it could make you incrementally more bad. If you're a good person, it can make you incrementally more good. It's just going to help you be more efficient, at least in this space that we're talking about, being a content producer, make you more efficient with your content production. But it doesn't speak to the quality of it, the quality of your thinking, the quality of your motives. It's just weird how people think about this. And so my point is to say what you're seeing from the press corps today isn't going to change.
No.
And the whole combating misinformation. Well, how do you combat misinformation? You call something that's information misinformation. Facts. Well, you call something that's your opinion a fact.
Well, attribution helps.
Attribution helps, but
like police say blah blah blah.
Well, that's true, as opposed to all these unnamed sources.
Right.
But
Well, if you have a source, you have to have two sources.
Yeah, but you have to trust you have to trust me. I have integrity. We have a trust relationship, so you have to trust me. And no matter how many times my unnamed sources turn out to be wrong, you still have to trust me. I mean, and it's so funny because they're all concerned too about the loss of trust, the loss of readership, in part because of the loss of trust. Well, but they don't explore why have people stop trusting you?
Exactly.
Why do people stop consuming your content? Because it's turned out to be inaccurate. You've exposed yourself oftentimes, not in this panel, but I'm just saying generally speaking, you've exposed yourself as a partisan with an agenda while you're telling me how objective you are, and you're just a scrivener of the passing scene. That's a lie. And also the quality of the content just doesn't have a lot of importance in my life. You're just not giving me much value.
Well, we just don't need it anymore because now we have Twitter and social media. And if it wasn't for social media, we would not see all of Biden's senior moments, or when he wanders off, or when he walks the wrong way, or when he's, we would not see any of that.
Well, this is sort of the point.
We just don't need them anymore because we have, citizen journalists too.
Well,
that they're competing against.
But the sort of the point is that you have to add value to the community you build around your content, and let 1,000 flowers bloom. It's almost like they all try to be I am the oracle of all truth, rather than just here's the angle I'm taking to reporting, to content production. Here's the community I'm trying to build, and here's how I'm serving that community. Everything is so high-minded and truth and philosophical, waxing philosophical, when the reality of how they operate is, well, like this exchange between Tucker Carlson and this Aussie journalist at a speech that Tucker gave. She pressed him on the great replacement theory, and the against the backdrop of worldwide migration. It's a worldwide thing. Well, sure, because you have a bunch of leftist politicians that have embraced open borders, so that's why it's worldwide, at least in the West. People going from where they don't want to be to where they would like to be because it's better, or it used to be. Anyway, this exchange is instructive. There's no curing. There's no AI cure to this.
So much for your address today. So you talked a little bit about immigration, and in the past you've talked about how white Australians, Americans, Europeans are being replaced by non-white immigrants in what is often referred to as the Great Replacement Theory. This is the same.
Have I said that whites are being replaced?
Well,
I don't think I said that.
Well, it's been mentioned on your show 4,000 times. And
really, when did I say that?
On your show.
I said whites are being replaced?
You have said that before.
Really?
Yeah.
I would challenge you to cite that, because I'm pretty sure I haven't said that. I said native-born Americans are being replaced, including blacks.
Native-born Americans.
Native-born Americans.
And
Americans who, like black Americans, have been African Americans, have been in the United States for, in many cases, their families over 400 years. And their concerns are every bit as real and valid and alive to me as the concerns of white people whose families have been there 400 years. So I've never said that whites are being replaced. Not one time. And you can't cite it.
Untrue.
So we just met, but when our relationship starts with a lie, it makes it tough to be friends. So
well, you've been lying
let's
about
pull
my
that back. I'm
personality
happy to
colleagues all
explain what I
morning as
do
well,
think.
so,
Well, you actually can't say it because I didn't say it, and I don't believe it. And I'm telling you that to your face, so why don't you just accept me at face value? My concern is that the people who are born in the country are the main responsibility of its leaders. And as noted earlier, when those leaders shift their concern from the people whose responsibility it is to take care of to people around the world to put their priorities above that of their own citizens, that's immoral. And they are being replaced in my country, people who are born in the United States. And the birth rate tells the whole story. They are not at replacement rate. And so the U.S. population is growing because we're importing people from other countries. And my view is that happy people have children, and a functioning economy allows them to do that. And we don't have that. And so you need to fix the economy and fix the culture and make it so that people who want to have kids can. You don't just go for the quick sugar fix of importing new people. Like, that's my position. And if you think that's racist, that's your problem.
I never called you a racist.
But of course you are suggesting, and
Well,
I must say one of the reasons people don't like people like you in the media is that you never say exactly what you mean. Your slurs are all by implication, and you're about to tell me the great replacement theory is racist or anti-Semitic, whatever. I've said what I've said to you right now like 100 times in public. I hope to, if I live long enough, say it 100 more times. I think it's completely honest and real, not racist or scary. It's factually true. It's not a theory, it's a fact. And the whole point of your question was to be like, you're a scary racist.
Well, I haven't
And
actually
my
finished my
response is, no,
question.
I'm not. Okay, well, how about no more lying in your questions, and then I'll answer it.
Okay. Well, this is the same theory, or as you say, idea, that has inspired the New York Buffalo shooting where 11 black Americans were killed.
On.
2
You know what
white
I mean?
Americans were killed.
Like,
it's also
okay,
inspired.
it's not. First of all,
it's inspired one of the worst Australian guns
how do
of
they
all
get
time
people
to
this
shoot
stupid in the media? I guess it doesn't pay well. Look, I'm sorry. I've lived among people like you for too long, and I don't mean to call you stupid. Maybe you're just pretending to be, but I'm totally against violence. I'm totally against the war in Ukraine, for example, which doubtless you support. And like all dutiful liberals, support more carnage. I don't. I hate mass shootings, actually. Nothing I said, what does it mean to inspire something? My views are not bigoted against any group. They're honest. They're factual. That's not hate. That's reality. And my views derive from my deep concern for Americans, actually. Americans aren't having kids because they can't afford to. And nobody in charge cares. And so that's my position. That doesn't inspire mass shootings. How dare you try to tie me to some lunatic who murdered people? How dare you, actually? And in fact, I mean, do you know what I mean? I'd be like, Hitler wore those shoes. A lot of people are saying that you're like Hitler. Can you explain those shoes? Hitler wore exactly the same shoes, and you're like, I've got nothing to do with Hitler. Well, that's how I feel about your absurd, disingenuous question.
Right, so therefore you support gun control?
What? I thought it couldn't get dumber, but it
shootings?
did. No, I don't support disarming law-abiding people so they can't defend themselves. So the government has a monopoly on violence? I don't think so. First of all, in my country, that's illegal, as you know. But moreover, it should be illegal in every country. A sovereign person has the right to defend himself and his family. Period.
I mean, how about that for progression? I haven't heard a better example of the thinking of the groupthink of the left media, and I'm redundant there, than that. I mean, the logical thread, she has a story in her head, and there's nothing you're going to do to get that story out of her head. All you're going to get in response to a substantive reply to what she's alleging, and it is an allegation. She's making an accusation. She's not asking a neutral question. This is something that reporters do all the time. So she goes from, you're a racist who is afraid that whites are being replaced, when that's not his view, as he so nicely articulated, Tucker's view, and it's not anybody's view. It's about not treating non-citizens like citizens. American citizens have priority. There should be some value to being a citizen of America. There are responsibilities. There are also benefits. And this is, throughout the melting pot that is the American citizenry. It has nothing to do with race, as he said. But but you're a racist. And not only you're a racist who inspires other racists to commit hate crimes. And if you're against that, then I'll go on to the next thing, how you're against gun control. And that's the way that you arm the racists to commit hate crimes, even while you're dissociating yourself from them. I mean, the unfairness of the line of questioning, the ignorance, which of course is unfairness, the unkindness of it, since they're so committed to kindness is everything. I see it on their T-shirts, so it has to be true. Kindness is everything, and then they're completely unkind, and unkindness gives way to unreason, and that's what you heard from that reporter. So you think AI is going to fix that mentality? No, if anything,
make it worse.
Yes, exacerbate it. It's going to, make responding to it that much more necessary, and it's going to be necessitate that conservatives are in this space in the same way that the tech left is. Because I got to tell you, at 1871, I listened to a panel or two in addition to the one I participated in. I mean, a lot of the people are smart. Most of them are coming from the left. Most of them have been hardwired to be identitarians. One of the guys on the panel, very smart, very well educated, spent too much time talking about his resume, but it is an impressive one. And he does the whole I identify as a person of color thing, and this is my lens, and so on. I mean, it's just...
Did he announce his pronouns?
No, he didn't go take it that far. But I mean, it's just an indicator. We can't abdicate this space, and it was really driven home to me at 1871 yesterday.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Are your file cabinets stuffed with work orders, invoices, bills of lading, medical records, and or compliance papers? There's a solution to clear the clutter by converting your documents into accessible digital form with the help of IDT. They can scan your documents for you or provide you with the technology to transform your workspace with easy and innovative IoT smart connected scanning technology. IoT smart connected scanning not only captures your information, it connects your documents directly to your existing digital systems, ensuring seamless integration and immediate access. Plus, it works with your existing Microsoft Office 365 technology. Convert those physical files into secure, searchable, easy-to-find digital formats. Goodbye, paper chaos. Hello, streamlined, secure digital environment. Visit ready4idt.com. That's ready, the number 4idt.com. IDT, putting paper in its place.
When you're in chronic pain, you're miserable. And guess what? So are the people around you who have to watch you suffer. It's time to do something about it, and that's called QC Kinetics. This is a solution other than surgery or drugs. QC Kinetics is a cutting-edge place to go. They have treatments that accelerate your own body's healing properties, revitalizing your joints so you can move again without surgery or drugs. They've helped thousands of patients living with chronic pain from arthritis or injury. Steroid surgeries and pain pills are no longer your only option. So learn how QC Kinetics can treat the pain, enhance your joints, and restore mobility. Give them a call at this number. You can go there for a free consultation. They're open on Saturdays, and they have new locations in Crystal Lake and Gurnee. The number to call, write it down. Enough is enough. 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
AM 560. The Answer.
Speaking of AI, did you hear what NBC is doing for the Olympics? They're having an AI version of Al Michaels' voice for the Olympic coverage. 10 minutes at the end of every day. And he agreed to it. He said, that's fine. But isn't it?
Al Mike, A-I-L. A-I-A-L. A-I-L. I like it. Al Michaels should live forever. Yes.
Weird. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I'd be more worried about that poop protest that may be going on in France, the Seine, because they're cleaning up the Seine now. But
well, it's just like the Chicago River. We're having a race there in September, and I signed you up.
Oh, it's great.
Should be clean by September.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's a good swim. At 8:08, speaking of Chicago, Adding a fifth star to the flag at 8:08.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
The Bulls went local with their first-round draft pick in last night's NBA draft. Chicago leaders are reaching a deal with groups planning to protest during the Democrat National Convention in August. Cubs lost to San Francisco 4-3. WIND Chicago News
We're
Time.
12 hours away. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News from the CNN presidential debate. Democrats put up billboards welcoming former President Trump to Atlanta for the first time as a convicted felon. But his spokesperson, Caroline Levitt, tells Fox.
President Trump absolutely is the front runner in this race. He has the money. He outraised the Democrats in the months of April and May. He has the momentum. If you look at every poll, he's winning in all the battleground states.
The economy could be a big topic tonight. We just got an update showing first quarter GDP growth didn't quite slow as much as first thought, revised up slightly to 1.4%. Now, President Biden at Camp David for days has been doing debate prep. Fox's Bill Malugin details the rules tonight from Atlanta.
Candidates cannot interact with staff during the debate. Biden is going to be on the right. Trump will make the closing statements. Mics will be muted outside of designated speaking time. There will be no props, no pre-written notes. They're only going to get water and pen and paper pad provided.
Fox News will have special coverage simulcasting the CNN presidential debate at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can hear it at foxnewsradio.com. In an hour, we'll get more rulings from the Supreme Court winding this term down. One might be a potential decision that leaked online yesterday in a challenge to an Idaho abortion law.
It appears to show that the court will not actually rule on the merits of the case, but send it back to a lower court for now. Now, big if, that winds up mirroring the actual opinion, it avoids a ruling on a major hot topic in an election year, but gives the Biden administration a temporary win on procedural grounds because it will broaden access to emergency abortion, at least in the short term.
Fox's Shannon Bree. More troubles for Boeing. Already facing possible criminal charges over alleged violations of a settlement with the U.S. over deadly plane crashes overseas. Boeing's being sanctioned, accused of improperly sharing information about the investigation into the door plug blowout on an Alaska Airlines flight. And there's yet another whistleblower complaint questioning Boeing manufacturing safety. America's listening to Fox News.
63 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. The Bulls went local with their first-round draft pick last night, selecting Hinsdale Central forward Modest Buzelis with the 11th pick in round one. Both of Modest's parents played professionally basketball in Lithuania before settling in Willowbrook. The Highland Park 4th of July parade shooting suspect is rejecting a plea deal his attorneys had worked out. Robert Cremo III made the surprise reversal yesterday at a hearing in Lake County Court in front of victims' family members.
He is evil and manipulative and brought us here today probably knowing what he was going to do.
Lake County prosecutors say they're prepared to go to trial next year. Chicago leaders are reaching a deal with groups planning to protest during the DNC in August. The ACLU announcing the coalition was granted a permit to march south along Michigan Avenue from Wacker to the Logan statue. The group filed a federal lawsuit against the city last month. National Weather Service confirms at least 4 tornadoes struck the Chicago area on Saturday, one just west of downtown Elburn. Another tornado began near Wheaton Warrenville South High School. Cubs lost to the Giants 4-3. White Sox a 4-0 loss to the Dodgers. NBA draft news, no Bulls picks today in the second round. Last night, Illinois guard Terrence Shannon Jr. was selected in round 1 by the Timberwolves. The news is service of Crosscom Public Adjusters. If your home or business has an insurance claim, Crosscom will help you get what you need and have coming to you. They've helped thousands. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com. AM 560 news time is 8:04. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. And now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Maria Bartiromo, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Walgreens plans to close a significant number of its 8,600 stores in coming years and cut its stake in primary care provider VillageMD. It plans to reassign staff so there won't be significant job losses. Chief Executive Tim Wentworth tells the Wall Street Journal the company has not settled on a final number of locations to close, but it's reviewing about a quarter of unprofitable stores. Walgreens made a stronger profit in its recent quarter, though it is lowering expectations for this year. Amazon stands with a market value of more than $2 trillion this morning. It's only the fifth company to reach that level. Chipmaker Micron Technology reported an upbeat quarter, but Wall Street was hoping for a more optimistic forecast, and the stock is losing ground. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
It's 8:05. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Your home is a valuable asset, and you want to take care of your home. From roofs, siding, windows, and doors to furnaces, flooring, landscaping, and much more. Listen to your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio every Sunday morning at 9. Presented by Lang Home Medical Equipment, Executive Green Carpet Cleaning, and by Valdecast Windows and Doors. Get answers from industry experts so you can make informed decisions about your home improvement. Right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I work for the New York City Fire Department. I've been using Balance of Nature for 8 years, I believe. It's been phenomenal. And I just got retired after 33 years. I work long hours, a lot of overtime. I teach at the Fire Academy. I run with the mornings. I work out all the time. And your product has been so successful for me in my regiment. I have nothing but high praise for you guys.
Splash into your summer with Balance of Nature's summer savings. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 50% off your first set. Don't miss out. This offer is only available while supplies last. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited time offer by using discount code Chicago.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here. Let me ask you this. Does inflation feel worse than what we're being told in the news? That's because the official inflation rate doesn't tell the whole story. Since January 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but what you can do is stop your losses today. How? By diversifying your savings into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. When you're done, your money will be parked in a tangible asset with a proven history. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax-advantaged status. So text PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
8:07. A check of the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We'll start in Villa Park, Ardmore, and Roosevelt. An accident being cleared out of your way. However, Glendale Heights, accident reported Bloomingdale and North Avenue. Waukegan, Delaney, and York House, report of an accident there. 8094, they just opened an exit ramp. It's the off-ramp to Burr after a stalled semi has been cleared there. Traveling on the Tri-State, you're jammed up northbound 75th all the way to 31st. And the Dan Ryan checks in this morning, 26 minutes, 95th into the Circle. Traffic, a service of Blue Stars Security. Support our police and hire the police to personally protect you and your business. Visit online at bluestarsecurityllc.com. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Cooler and a bit less humid today. A mix of clouds and sun. Our high today 73. Partly cloudy for tonight, low 62. Clouds and breezy tomorrow. Afternoon shower and thunderstorm. Could see some flash flooding. The high tomorrow afternoon 82. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
63 right now. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. It's LGBTQIA2S plus month, and then I guess now there's a week within the month.
Yeah, now we have Pride Week. So I didn't know that we have Pride Week inside of Pride Month.
I see.
And because of that, Mayor Johnson tweeted out, for Pride Week, we're raising our brand new Chicago Stars Pride flag alongside the Cook County Progress Pride flag. I have no idea what that is. And reaffirming our city as a place where everyone is welcome and love conquers all.
Except conservatives.
Yeah. Everyone's welcome except for but this weekend's the big Pride parade.
Except Christians.
I think that, Pride Week is now that because of this weekend's festival, which, by the way, there was some intel from the FBI saying, be careful that there's a possible, they're keeping it, let's just say this, they're keeping an eye on Chicago this weekend and on Saturday because of some chatter online about a possible attacks. And they
You mean attacks by ISIS, the ISIS-related people that have been let into this country, or what?
There's like 400 unaccounted for.
Yeah.
Still. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the Chicago FBI office is doing about that.
Well,
but
so they've also canceled a number of floats. There's a number of schools and churches that
Why?
are not going to be walking to control the crowd more. That's what they said.
Oh, really?
It wasn't a homophobic move. It wasn't, they just said to keep.
Oh, good. I'm glad that those. I mean, there's still going to be the public sex acts, right?
Well, yeah. The
Okay,
drag
great.
queens,
Yeah,
men as
good.
women
For the
with fake
kids.
boobs and
Yeah,
the
but
humping cop cars and ATV cars.
I want naked men and women to be able to have sex in public for the kids.
Yeah.
So
there's always erections. I mean, it's awful.
No,
Yes.
well-
Well, I'm just saying if you go to, I went to it for years because I had to for work, and it got raunchier and raunchier every single. Like you couldn't be sick enough. Like then you had to hump the cop car, and then everybody's in G-strings with
Right.
It just got a little out of control for my taste.
Yeah, but I mean, enough about Carol Maureen.
Hey, stop it.
But also, good big news on the DNC. City officials have reached a deal with protest organizers. They've reached a deal with your local domestic terrorists. Congratulations.
The ones that practice chanting "Death to America, Death to Israel."
They'll allow demonstrators to march along Michigan Avenue adjacent to Grand Park before the kickoff of the DNC in August. Great. As long as they've negotiated an armistice, I'm sure everything will go off swimmingly.
Well, you know what that means? The businesses on Michigan Avenue are going to have to board up their windows all over again.
What are you talking about? These are peaceful protesters.
Oh, they say they're peaceful. Can they really, with 100% certainty, know that they're going to be peaceful? No, if I was a shop owner, I'd have to spend money, yes, again, call Busy Bee Board Up or ABC Board Up and put it up just in case. But that's going to be a bad look for Chicago.
They're creating economic growth. It's the broken windows theory, not the policing, the actual fallacious broken windows theory. That broken windows create economic activity. But anyway, back to because the protesters. I mean, of course, you've got your Queers for Palestine. You've got so there's a lot of intersection, and because there's a lot of intersectionality when it comes to protesting different things simultaneously by the same people. Anyway, so this flag, this LGBTQIA-ization of the Chicago flag. So the 4 stars now. It's like the.
Well, I said just go on my
it's
tweet.
like the badges.
I just said just go all in and put a permanent 5th star on our Chicago flag for this community. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when Lori Lightfoot suggested a 5th star be added to the flag when we come out of COVID. And Dr. Nziki wanted a ticker tape parade,
yeah, that's
too.
right.
Remember that?
Yeah, the 5th flag.
Yeah.
The 5th star. Yeah.
I want nothing less than for our efforts over the coming months to truly warrant a 5th star on our flag.
Well, we
because
saw the 4.
You know what the 4th stars: Fort Dearborn, the Great Chicago Fire, the 1893 World's Fair, and then the
What's the
19
fourth? This is the tough one.
Okay, it's another World's Fair, or the expedition, 1933 to 1934.
Yeah, that's right. That's very
Did I
good.
get that
Wow.
right?
You've
Well,
quite
I just
Chicago
went on
history.
the architecture tour.
Oh, you did? You finally got around to doing that?
And I learned a lot. I learned that Mrs. O'Leary's cow, Daisy, should be exonerated. She didn't.
She
not
was
to the-
exonerated.
Oh,
Mr.
she-
O'Leary was
Oh, that's right.
exonerated.
Yeah. But
It's-
they
it's-
didn't start the Chicago fire.
I think
they
it's-
believe it was her son.
No.
Who, no, wait, just let me. Can I
That's
finish?
that's
Can I finish? Yeah, well, I didn't finish my theory.
No, go ahead.
They believe it was her
No,
son.
it wasn't.
Because he owed gambling debts, and they needed some insurance money or something, so they burnt down the barn, but then it exploded because it was very dry that October in 1871.
Oh, you remember it well.
I do. I just Botox a lot.
No, I think it was Pegleg Sullivan.
This Peg Leg
He
Sullivan?
was a neighbor of Mrs. O'Leary.
What, do you have a beef with her? Why do you have
No.
a peg leg? Huh?
I don't know why he had the peg leg, but he did have a peg leg.
Did he have a patch?
You know how I know? Because he was named Pegleg. Pegleg Sullivan. It wasn't one of those reverse nicknames like calling Big Guy Tiny. He actually had a peg leg. But the theory, I think I'm going from recall here. The theory was so he's a neighbor of O'Leary, and he went out to smoke his pipe. And he either intentionally started the fire or accidentally started the fire, and the story, because his testimony was like, oh, he saw the fire and he tried to put it out.
Did he, or was he afraid his leg would catch on fire?
But they said, well,
wood was burning back then. The streets were made of wood. The sidewalks, the whole town was made of wood.
Well, yes, that's the Great Fire. But then there was the testimony like he couldn't have seen the fire where he said he saw it, and that he ran all this distance to get water to put the fire out, but he had the peg leg, and he's talking about like running the length of a football field.
This testimony sounds shoddy.
No, it was partly because of this peg leg Sullivan theory that O'Leary got cleared by the city council like 20 years ago.
Another theory that I learned from the boat tour is that it was so dry that October that there could have been lightning strikes, and that could have set something off.
I don't think so. I think it's peg leg. What did you learn when you finally got around to the Sea Dog, taking the Sea Dog ride?
Nobody wanted to do the Sea Dog.
What
ride
about the
because you get wet in the Sea Dog.
What about the bathtub boat?
The bathtub boat.
Or
the
the hot tub boat.
We did see some people in the hot tub. I should have taken a picture of it. It's hysterical.
You didn't
get
do
in
that?
the hot tub, and then there's a little bar that's built in the hot tub, and you can spin around and you go down the river.
Huh.
But I was checking the water quality and thinking about that race in September that I signed you up for.
Yeah.
The mile swim in the Chicago River. I think you'd be fine if you wear a wetsuit and if you don't drink any of the water. Like, you just make sure no water gets in your mouth.
Yeah, it's tough to swim and not ingest some water. That's the problem.
Yeah.
What else did you do now that you're acclimating yourself to Chicago and doing all the tourist stuff since you've been here for?
Well, we had a family reunion, so I got to do touristy things.
Did you go to the Ferris wheel?
No, I'm not doing the Ferris.
Did you
We rented a boat.
Did you go to Bubba Gump's?
No, we didn't go to Bubba Gump. We rented a boat, went in the playpen.
That's it?
That was fun.
Oh, the playpen. Oh,
Playpen,
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
You should see what the chicks are wearing these days. Oy vey.
Hmm.
I think I showed you.
Those aren't chicks. They're people like Precious Brady Davis. Since it's Pride Week, we got a new flag. The fifth star was for COVID for Lori Lightfoot's leadership during COVID.
Right,
That deserves a
that's
fifth star. So this would be a sixth star.
What?
And it should be for the LGBTQIA 2S+++
Right.
community. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. That's
Why don't you get one of your friends on the city council to introduce that?
It could be a possibility. We would have gotten a fifth star had we gotten the Olympics here.
Yeah,
but
but-
we lost to Rio de Janeiro. We got handed a big L on that day. Remember, everybody flew out there to Denmark for the big announcement.
I don't want to recount those difficult times. I want to recount the great times, like how Lori Lightfoot helped us survive COVID, like how Precious Brady Davis is making Chicago a trans welcoming community. Precious Brady Davis, she's a trailblazer.
Okay, I'm
sorry.
not familiar with her work.
It's not she, it's a he.
Oh, okay.
Precious Brady Davis is a he, and he has a memoir, I Have Always Been Me, except I used to be a dude, and now I identify as a chick. And he is the first black trans woman to serve in public office in Cook County history.
I hate that word. I hate that word.
No, it's awesome.
It's not history, it's history.
Kirk County history. Precious Brady Davis
Do you have
is
a picture of Precious? I mean, in case I run into him or...
You'll speaking of public erections, Precious Brady Davis is married to Miles Brady Davis, who is a trans man. So he's a dude pretending to be a woman, and he's married to a woman pretending to be a dude.
You know, it's too much mental gymnastics for this time of the day.
I don't need a scorecard.
I know.
Anyway, first black trans woman to be a Cook County public official. He's on the MWRD board. So you should talk to Precious Brady Davis about the excrement and dead bodies in the Chicago River. Maybe he could do something about that. Okay. They're magical people. They can do anything.
Is he going to be the Grand Marshal of the parade? Who's going to be the Grand Marshal? Grand Marshal.
Yeah, Precious Brady Davis, or maybe Miles Brady Davis.
I'm looking.
Or maybe the
I'm
two of
searching.
them. That would be good.
Grand Marshal.
Ralph and Rantoul, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. In light of Chicago's sustained escalation and promotion of violence through electing stupid people
Yeah.
to represent even more stupid people, I think the fifth star should be a shooting star.
I like that. Waiting for a star to fall.
Comedian Fortune Feimster and her wife Jack Smith are the Chicago Pride Parade Grand Marshals.
Her wife, Jack Smith.
Yeah, I don't...
The wife is named Jack?
Yes.
Of course it is.
For maybe Jack, but it's J-A-X, Jack.
Oh, that's Jax.
Jax? I don't...
J-A-X? That's
But
Jax.
I don't know this Fortune Feimster. I don't know... I don't know anymore, and I'm not going to guess what's going on.
You should talk to Precious Brady Davis about that.
I think Precious Brady Davis should be the Grand Marshal.
Maybe
next year.
Maybe a seventh star for Precious Brady Davis.
Stop it.
Mike in Elmhurst, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, can you hear me? I'm calling about Peg Leg. Peg Leg is my mother's great-grandmother was a Sullivan. Actually, their real name was O'Sullivan, and she had 3 children. One of them was Daniel. He lost his leg in the Civil War. Now, he didn't set that fire. Yeah, he didn't set that fire, I'll tell you, because they would have hung him if they thought he did. But secondly, there was in Peshtigo, Wisconsin, sometimes they call it Antigo, Wisconsin, on the same, at the 2,000 people were killed in a forest fire that was apparently started because of a meteor shower. And they had the same thing that occurred in Michigan across the lake from Chicago, and then, of course, they had Chicago, all at the same time. But they lost 2,000 people in Antigo, Wisconsin. Sometimes they call it the Peshtigo fire, but that was a fire that was started by a meteor shower. There's no doubt about that. Go look it up if you don't believe me.
No, they talked about that on the boat, that there was a fire simultaneously in Wisconsin that was started by a meteor shower.
I don't know.
And then there was one in Michigan, too, at the same time.
All right, thanks for
3
the call,
fires
Mike.
were burning.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not, who am I? I don't rise to the level of a docent on the architecture tour. But I'm just telling you, there's some shaky testimony from Peg Leg back in the day, as so documented. But okay, maybe.
Back to our Grand Marshal couple for the parade on Saturday.
Yeah. What about is Triple Threat and Amy unavailable?
I don't know.
What about Tiny Dancer and Amy?
I don't know. It said the couple met at Chicago's Pride in 2015 and got married in October 2020. Quote, as we celebrate our community and our anniversary, it feels like a beautiful full circle moment, she said. So Fortune is a she. Maybe.
What about is Toni Preckwinkle going to wear her Statue of Liberty get up for the parade?
She's always fun in that thing, huh?
She is fun. She's just fun generally.
I want to party with her.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's it's just not my cup of tea.
Which isn't your cup of tea?
The Pride Parade.
Oh.
And altering flags. I don't like that at all. I can't just leave the Chicago flag the way it is. Leave the American flag the way it is. Just don't touch them.
No, I mean, the flag represents the occupied territory, which Chicago is, occupied territory by the identitarians.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli, a family-owned restaurant, a Chicago family favorite for over 40 years. Why? Because they're known for sub sandwiches the size of your forearm. No joke. Their 6-inch sub has more meat and cheese in it than any foot long in an Irish neighborhood. These sandwiches are iconic, famous for their homemade Italian beef, meatballs, burgers, and of course, delicious Italian subs loaded with mortadella, cabagol, salami, provolone, and their own secret sauce called Love Potion No. 9. This vinegar and oil dressing is famous on its own. Both Augustino's locations boast walls covered in authentic rock and roll memorabilia and artifacts, all celebrating their love for good old-fashioned rock and roll. Augie's is a feast for your eyes and your stomach. Dine in or carry out. Bring the family or the team. Plus, Augie's caters corporate meetings, parties, and celebrations. Don't make it yourself. Make it happen with Augustino's. Go to augustinos.com for locations and menus. That's augustinos.com.
Okay, the summer is here, and don't forget your Balance of Nature supplements. Bring them with you when you go on vacation, because when you go through those drive-thrus and you eat those hot dogs and burgers and brats, well, that's not providing any fruits and vegetables that your body desperately needs every day to stay healthy, happy, and energized. That's why I've been supplementing with Balance of Nature for nearly a decade. It's so easy to open up the individual capsules and dust them over a salad or fix them into a juice drink or warm water. That's how I do it. And thousands of AM 560 listeners love their Balance of Nature, and you will too. 6 capsules a day provides your body, your heart, and your mind over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables. You'll love it. Your body, mind, and heart will thank you for it. Order your fruits and veggie supplements today by calling 800-246-8751. Use coupon code Chicago. And guess what? Right now, you will save 50%, half off your first set and free shipping when you sign up as a new preferred customer. 800-246-8751. Call now. This is really a great offer. If you've been thinking about trying Balance of Nature, now is the time to do it with half off your first order and free shipping. Or order online at balanceofnature.com. Use coupon code Chicago and save 50%. Hurry up. This is a limited time offer while supplies last.
Our communities deserve to have their tax dollars spent efficiently. All over Chicagoland, there is an increased need for vital projects like wetland improvements, enhancing water quality, or stormwater mitigation to protect homes against devastating floods. Too often, public officials find themselves at the mercy of outside advisors when planning, budgeting, and building these projects. And let's face it, they rarely meet deadlines or budgets, leaving our communities vulnerable. There's a better way forward. Control Point Engineering. At Control Point Engineering, we're more than just civil engineers. We're champions of quality and efficiency with over 40 years of hands-on experience. Teaming up with Earthworks Land Development, we're breaking down barriers and streamlining processes. Say goodbye to disjointed partnerships and hello to seamless collaboration. From conceptualization to construction, Control Point Engineering delivers everything you need in one unified package, saving you time and money. Visit ControlPointLLC.com today to learn about our successful projects all across Chicagoland. Again, that's ControlPointLLC.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for Townhall.com. For years, Democrats have been styling themselves as the party of democracy. They've characterized political opponents, most notably former President Trump, as a threat to democracy. In his 2022 speech in Philadelphia, President Biden accused what he called MAGA Republicans of working to undermine democracy itself. So imagine how surprising it was to read a recent story in the New York Times. It details all the ways a coalition of leftists is working to thwart Trump's policy objectives should he regain the White House. How ironic. Those who claim to fight for democracy are working overtime to ensure their preferred policies remain in place, regardless of what the people actually vote for. It gives the game away. To the left, democracy has nothing to do with honoring the outcome of elections. For them, democracy means they get to rule. I'm Carol Platt-Liebau.
When your home or business has an insurance claim, the next step is very important. The claim process with insurance can be tedious, hard to understand, and difficult to navigate. You need someone working for you. You need a licensed claim adjuster. Why? The insurance company will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them, not you.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company. If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
You've worked hard and accumulated wealth, but you know the pitfalls involved in passing significant assets to your heirs. The team at Spahn Financial will help you feel secure with personalized financial planning to achieve your legacy goals. They anticipate and manage all your wealth planning needs and focus on the full financial picture, including tax efficiency, income distribution throughout retirement, philanthropic giving, estate planning, and more. They even help you prepare the next generation to be good stewards. Kevin Spahn is a 2024 Forbes Best in State Wealth Advisor and Barron's Top 1200 Financial Advisor. Visit SpahnFinancial.com to schedule a consultation and to view disclosures. That's SPAHMFinancial.com. Forbes Best in State Wealth Advisors List, April 2024. Data as of 6/30/2023. Barron's Top 1200 Financial Advisors List, March 2024. Data as of 9/30/2023. No compensation provided for ratings. Marketing fees apply to promote ratings.
AM 560, The Answer.
I did want to recognize and celebrate, because you must or else, Jill Rose Quinn. I wanted to be clear that Precious Brady Davis, first black trans elected official in Cook County, but Jill Rose Quinn is a man pretending to be a woman, and he's a circuit court judge in Cook County in the domestic relations division, of course. So please make sure that you celebrate both during Pride Week and Pride Month in Chicago and Cook County.
I really want to thank you for clearing that up.
I'm happy to.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We return to our debate pregame with Michael Goodwin, New York Post columnist, at 8:38.
But now, without further ado, let's check in with Mike Scott.
8:33, two candidates in Iran's presidential election are withdrawing from the race. It's an effort by hardliners to coalesce around a unity candidate to replace the late President Ibrahim Raisi. Such withdrawals are common in the final quiet hours of an Iranian presidential election. Walgreens moments ago says it's finalizing a plan to fix its business that could result in the closure of hundreds of additional stores in the next 3 years. CEO Tim Wentworth told analysts this morning changes are imminent for about 25% of the Deerfield Company's stores. The Supreme Court appears poised to allow emergency abortions in rare cases based on a document accidentally posted online. That, according to Bloomberg, which obtained the document relating to a pending Idaho abortion case.
The document posted online showing deep divisions on the high court remain on abortion, some accusing their colleagues of ducking the real dispute. Justice Jackson saying, quote, "Today's decision is not a victory for pregnant patients in Idaho."
Reporter Laura Jarrett Supreme Court spokeswoman this morning confirmed the document was inadvertently uploaded, stressing an official ruling has not been released. The presidential debate between Democrat Joe Biden and Republican Donald Trump tonight. The 90-minute debate, slated to begin at 9 p.m. Eastern Time at CNN Studios and AM 560, will carry coverage of the CNN presidential debate from Fox News Radio beginning at 8 p.m. tonight. The Bulls went local with their first-round draft pick last night, the team selecting Hinsdale Central forward Mattis Bazelis with the 11th pick overall in round 1. DuPage County prosecutors will not file charges in a deadly police shooting involving a man in Carroll Stream earlier this year. DuPage County State's Attorney Robert Berlin saying he couldn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt who shot Isaac Goodloe III. Berlin did say in a statement body cam footage was not altered in that case, and claims made by the family about Goodloe are not true. Some law enforcement agencies in Illinois have been awarded grants to assist in the fight against carjackings. Illinois State Police Director Brendan Kelly says the grant money will allow police to purchase the technology needed to cut down on those vehicle crimes.
To prevent crime, you have to have resources. This grant will allow the Illinois State Police to focus additional resources on prevention and investigative follow-up for vehicular thefts, hijackings, and other related violent crimes.
And there's an investigation underway this morning after bones were found in a Bronzeville backyard during a landscaping project. The bones were stashed inside one of these cinder blocks inside a backyard near a staircase. Cook County Medical Examiner's Office says right now it's unknown if the bones are human or animal. They will be examined later today. Cubs 4-3 losers to the Giants, while the White Sox were blanked by the LA Dodgers 4-0. The news service of the AM 560 store, T-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Proft University. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Windy City Safes in Niles wants to help you celebrate America this summer by giving away a Liberty Personal Home Safe. Enter to win from now until the 4th of July at 560theanswer.com/safe. That's 560theanswer.com/safe. And make sure to stop by Windy City Safe's showroom at 7310 North Milwaukee Avenue in Niles and receive a free American flag to display in your home or business while supplies last.
Smoke fumes and dust are a nuisance your business can do without, causing health hazards for employees and possible EPA problems for your company. If you need help cleaning up these problems, call a company that has the expertise and capability to help.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. I've got over 40 years of personal experience in dealing with smoke fumes and dust emissions, and I can help you eliminate these problems from your plant. Contact Vans for no-cost evaluation of your system, and we will size equipment, design hoods and ductwork for a complete turnkey solution.
Vans uses only the best and safest union-trained mechanics, insured at the highest levels to perform the job right. Call 833-VANS-IND to schedule your ventilation inspection today. That's 833-VANSIND. You can also visit them online at vansindustrial.com. That's VANSindustrial.com. Vans Industrial, working safe since 1964.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $240. There are only two good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part, my guidance cost you nothing. Call me, I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Scott Tucker Solutions and his show Retirement Decoded. Sunday mornings at 8. Learn more at scotttuckersolutions.com.
8:39, let's get an update on the roads. In our Team Hochberg Traffic Center, Lombard an accident, St. Charles and Route 53. Hinsdale an accident, Oak and Walnut. West Side Humboldt Park neighborhood. A water main break has been repaired, and things are getting back to normal, both for vehicular traffic and bus traffic between Hamlin and Ayers. 8094 stop and go on the eastbound side between Torrance and Kennedy. Reagan Memorial I-88 jamming up right now, right at the Tri-State. To Saba Lakeshore Drive, northbound delays, 18 up to Monroe. Traffic is a service of Lowe's. Savings, that's speaking the Lowe's language. And with My Lowe's Rewards, your savings just keep coming with members-only offers. See Lowe's.com/terms for any detail. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Cooler and less humid. Sunshine will mix with clouds today, high 73. Partly cloudy and 62 overnight. Mostly sunny and 65. Your next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Remember that Turkish immigrant that Fox caught up with at the border a couple weeks back? Who
I'll never forget him, ever.
Yeah, I mean, it was a rare moment of clarity. Very concerned about illegal immigrants coming into this country. You know, illegal immigrants like him, but not him.
Did you have to pay a cartel?
Yes.
How much?
Around 10,000.
10,000?
Yes. In fact, the American people is right, completely true. Who come into this country, they don't know. Well, okay, I'm good, but how if they're not good? How they're killer, psychopath, else? No guarantee of that. Why, like no security, no security check, no background check.
No security check, no background check. You're worrying about who's crossing the border?
Yes. Of course, me, because I'm like, people are not look normal.
Yeah. He raises a salient point. In point of fact, there was a migrant who got carjacked by a migrant in Chicago the other day.
Yeah, migrant on migrant crime.
Yeah.
CBS reporting 8 guys from Tajikistan were busted over fears they were planning a terrorist attack, and DHS is flagging 500 illegals who were brought here by a smuggling group linked to ISIS.
And
what could go wrong, Dan?
This just came over the transom.
Mm-hmm.
An illegal immigrant has been arrested for raping a 15-year-old girl in upstate New York. He forced the girl into his vehicle in Albany after threatening her with a metal pole. This is an illegal immigrant from Turkey. He then took the girl's clothes off and raped her. According to the charges, he was nabbed last week and charged with first-degree rape.
Thank God he didn't kill her, but he shouldn't be here. That's another preventable crime. And Mayorkas keeps saying, yesterday, that the vetting process is working. We have a secure and safe border. But if this is what security looks like, I want a do-over.
I assume there's going to be a lot of storytelling along these lines by President Trump tonight. For more color on tonight's debate, please be joined by Michael Goodwin, New York Post columnist and Fox News contributor. Michael, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, guys. Thank you.
So you know President Trump pretty well. You've done interviews with him before. You get a feel for him. What's your feeling about the approach that he will take tonight?
Well, look, I think to answer that, you have to see the whole campaign in perspective. And I think he's fairly confident the way things are going, and so does not need to knock it out of the park tonight. He just needs not to lose. And that, I think, would be the best thing going forward. And so if I were sort of inside his head, what I would say is, think of the people who are not yet supporting you and use tonight to talk to them about what you plan to do as president, what you did as president, what you plan to do as president, and where Joe Biden has failed. And I think if he can sort of stick to a plan like that, well, of course, he's got to talk to the people who already support him. But I do think this is a moment where he needs to expand the tent. And if he were to lose his temper or interrupt as he did, which he can't really do tonight because of the microphone control that the lords of CNN have commandeered.
Lords, yes.
Yeah. But I think if he can reach those new voters, those persuadable, undecided voters. I mean, there aren't many according to the polls, but because everybody is leaning one way or another, I think he needs to secure those leaners. And I think that if he can do that, then it's very hard to see what Joe Biden can do to disrupt that.
Well, as the old saying goes, styles make fights. And I just think, the whole Trump sitting on a lead, playing rope-a-dope, that's just not who he is, though. I think that's going to be, it's going to be difficult for him to buy into that, especially when he's pilloried with, insurrectionist and convicted felon for 90 minutes.
I completely agree. It will be a challenge for him, a big challenge. But I do think we are seeing some signs of a different Donald Trump already. I'll give you two examples. First is the McCormick, the candidate in Pennsylvania for the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
Trump rejected him the last time and endorsed Mehmet Oz. He did not see McCormick as a member of the MAGA nation, and he lost. Oz lost, and that was a winnable seat for Republicans. This time, he is endorsing McCormick. McCormick came to his rally in Pennsylvania and spoke. So that's one. Larry Hogan is another, the candidate for the Senate in Maryland, deep blue Maryland. And Hogan does not like Trump. Lara Trump, the deputy head of the RNC, went after Hogan, but Donald Trump did not. He endorsed him. He said he would love to see him in the Senate. Now, those are examples what I see as a practical Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of Ed Koch, the late mayor of New York, once said that if you agree with me on 9 out of 12 issues, you should vote for me. If you agree with me on 12 out of 12 issues, you should see a psychiatrist. And I think that's sort of the stage where Trump is. He is learning, I believe, to be satisfied with somebody who will vote for him, vote for his policies 80% of the time instead of just 100% of the time. That is progress for Donald Trump.
Well, and he will have the closing remarks. I mean, he's going to get the last word in.
Yes. I think this is the wild card. Of course, there are several. One is Joe Biden's frame of mind, his condition, his whatever cocktail he's on. The second, of course, is the CNN moderators who clearly hate Trump. I mean, both of them. They have a record that is extraordinary. When you think about it, that this is the new journalism, right? Hate Donald Trump, be so aligned with one party. And so those are wild cards that he can't really control, but he has to deal with.
Well, you think that comparing Trump to Hitler suggests that they don't like him? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, that's when you're gone that far, there's no coming back.
No, there isn't. What do you think Trump will do vis-a-vis Hunter Biden? Will he treat that situation with kid gloves? Will he largely ignore it? Will he do something I sort of suggested? He can announce he's going to pardon him because this isn't about Hunter. This is about the big guy. How do you think he will handle that?
I think it will be one of two ways, two possibilities. One is he will throw it in, I think, as a sidelight. When Joe Biden calls Trump a convicted felon, he may say, well, so's your son. The other is what will the moderators do with it? Will they bring it up? Will the moderators bring up the 2020 debate where Joe Biden lied about his son, where he lied about the laptop, where he lied about making money from China and all of that? Now, Jake Tapper has mentioned this on CNN recently, that Biden lied at that debate over those issues. So will Tapper bring it up? I think that's, to me, the real question here. Will he put Joe Biden on the spot about his son?
Right. And you know, and part of it, it seems to me, this is where Trump has to exercise that restraint that you're talking about, where, you know, they may raise the issue of Hunter Biden, for example, because they want Trump to say something intemperate. They want him to go after, you know, Joe's son, and then Joe can do the, I just love my son, and he's, you know, it's terrible what happened to him, and he's paying the consequences, but it's a testament to our justice system, and at least he accepts the consequences, although he is trying to get a new trial. You know, he Trump can overplay that rather than and sort of do tit for tat in a way that comes across as a bit coarse.
I agree, and that would be a sympathy vote for Joe Biden. And so I do think there's danger there. Look, there's danger everywhere.
Yeah.
You have a lead, but it's not a big lead. It's not soft. It's not secure. And so you have to be careful here. There are a lot of landmines, and that's why we're all going to watch.
So if Biden stumbles, stares off into space, has a senior moment, how should Trump handle that?
Say nothing. I mean, I think let him go. Let him ramble. Let him, you know, and then maybe at the end when it's your turn, say,
are you okay?
Folks, we just saw why he's not fit to be president. And I do think that's a line that has to be said at some point. I don't think Trump can ignore the elephant in the room, which is Biden's age and his mental decline. I mean, isn't that why Biden wanted the debate in the first place? Because that argument has become so strong and so loud, even among Democrats. I mean, these poll numbers are amazing. There was one, the New York Times had one. It was either 81% or 86% of all respondents thought he was too old for a second term. 80 in the 80s.
Right.
So that's a door that Trump doesn't have to break down. He merely has to, I think, push on it. And at some point, I believe that will become a relevant part. Look, it's possible Biden will be so juiced up that he'll make it through an hour and a half of without a visible decline. In which part, that's an issue that Trump will have to raise himself, I think, and do so in a way that is just sort of cut and dry. The public sees this. I don't think he needs to persuade people. I think he simply needs to remind them.
Right, and the flip side is, but Biden's charged, but that should be top of mind in Trump's mind. That 81% think he's too old to have a second term, because that necessarily means Biden's only path to a second term is to make people hate Trump enough to overcome their good judgment, and so don't fall into that trap of doing things that inspire recoil.
Yes, look, I again, that is why Biden wanted this debate in June. There is this possibility that by the time the convention gets to your neighborhood, Joe Biden will not be the nominee. I mean, and that's a reality. I don't know how that would happen, but I think he would have to agree to it.
Right.
I don't think there's any way to go around him. But if he becomes persuaded that he cannot win the election, that he will destroy the party, they'll lose both houses, then he would have to voluntarily step aside. And he's having this debate. They're pouring. It's fascinating, they're pouring $50 million into ads in the battleground states in June.
Mm-hmm.
In June, that's unheard of. I mean, that is a campaign that feels the heat. and feels like it's on a short leash. And so that's why this debate is so important for them. That's why I say it's more important for Biden than it is Trump. Trump has some things to prove, but Biden has to prove he's viable.
Michael Goodwin, New York Post columnist, Fox News contributor. Michael, thanks as always.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Protecting and growing your retirement assets can be complicated. From asset and legacy protection to retirement income and extended care, you need a plan. Mark Kohler, host of Retirement and Income Radio, heard Sundays at 11 a.m., helps retirees in or near retirement protect their accounts from market volatility. Mark can help you create lifetime guaranteed inflation-hedged income. Call Mark today at 844-619-SAFE. That's 844-619-7233. And listen this Sunday at 11 a.m. to Retirement and Income Radio.
One of the most important decisions you can make as a parent is where you send your kids to school. But these days, it's never been harder to know which school is best. Public schools have changed a lot, and you might be thinking about sending your child to a private Christian school. But you also know that private school can be expensive, and in this economy, you might think it's not an option. Well, think again. With halfpriceschools.com, you can purchase tuition vouchers for half the price of normal tuition for private schools. For nearly 10 years, halfpriceschools.com has helped families from all over Chicagoland make the dream of private school a reality. And that can be the reality for you and your child, too. Just go to halfpriceschools.com, search for a private Christian school near you, and purchase a voucher. It's that easy. Visit halfpriceschools.com. That's halfpriceschools.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I work for the New York City Fire Department. I've been using Balance of Nature for 8 years, I believe. It's been phenomenal. And I just got retired after 33 years. I work long hours, a lot of overtime. I teach at the Fire Academy. I run with the mornings. I work out all the time. And your product has been so successful for me in my regiment. I have nothing but high praise for you guys.
Splash into your summer with Balance of Nature's summer savings. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 50% off your first set. Don't miss out. This offer is only available while supplies last. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited time offer by using discount code Chicago.
AM 560. The Answer.
So you're gone. We're not doing post mortem yesterday with you because you're on vacation.
Well, here's the thing that really upsets me.
Yeah.
I planned this months ago, and then they spring it on all of a sudden. Oh, the debate's going to be Thursday, June 28th.
And they didn't check. They didn't check with you about your vacation
schedule. They didn't check
schedule.
with a lot of people because that's leading up to the 4th of July week, which a lot of people are going to be off next week.
Where are you going?
Belize, and I'm diving the blue hole. I'm going down 130 feet. You may not see me again. No, I'm just saying. I'm kidding. That's not going to happen.
They allow Americans there after John McAfee ruined the place?
Oh. That's
remember
right.
McAfee? Yeah.
What did he do again?
He went. I don't know. According to the documentary on him, there was some he had like a private military, and there were some questions about people who died, and then he I think he died a couple years ago. I think he committed suicide. So I mean, I don't know what's in the water there or that blue hole, but
well, a lot of people retire there at Costa Rica because it's cheaper. So,
Barb in Woodridge, comment on tonight's debate. She gets the final word, Barb.
Yes, Barb, congratulations.
Good morning, everybody, and what a great morning, huh? Nice and cool. I just want to say that as far as the debate goes, it's not really a debate, is it? Because a debate is when you have a topic and then whoever is debating responds to that topic. And this sounds like a question and answer session. One thing, too, that I want to say is they talk about having the mics turned off. That doesn't mean that President Trump can't still be yakking away over there trying to distract Biden, right? They're not in separate rooms.
No, but you're not going to be able to hear him, and it would be poor form to do that, yes. Yeah.
And the other thing is, I bet they'll never address him as former President Trump. They'll never give him that honorific, will they?
No, they're going to address him by his inmate number. Yeah.
They'll address him as the convicted felon. Yeah, your response, convicted felon?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, because he's debating not only Biden, but also Jake Tapper and Dana Bash.
And we'll see those joining us at March